Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us once more. This is a beautiful Sunday morning. This is your co-host, Miguel Antonio Barragan, aka Fight Fiend Migs, joined as always by my co-host, Andrew, don't get it twisted, Lapache, and this is the Mad Boxing Show, Migs and Drew, Mad Boxing Show. Thank you once more for joining us. Well, we have a very eventful weekend, or actually a very eventful week of things to talk about. We wanted to go over a few things during the show. First and foremost, of course, we're going to kick it off with last night's results, or I should say yesterday's results, because unbeknownst to me, the card was earlier in the day on DAZN because of the Zepeda and Dalton Smith being, in the UK. I tend to forget these things, so that kind of tends to happen. I got to put it on my calendar. I didn't realize it was earlier in the day, but I managed to catch it nonetheless. So we're going to kick off the show with that, and then go into the things that happened during the week with Munguia, Canelo, and the presser. We're going to finish it off with a little countdown / preview of Tszyu and Fundora later on, which will be taking place next weekend. But before we get into all those details, first and foremost, Andrew, what is going on? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Miguel? We're doing all right. Everyone's battling allergies now.
Oh, yeah.
The blue skies bring sniffles and coughs and everything else. So right now the house is kind of battling that. So you might see me going off off the video every once in a while, but no. Besides that, we're all doing great, man. Everything's good out here. So, yep. Um, Getting closer to Junior's first real sparring match of taking the gloves off. Yeah, it looks like we have a few avenues to go down now. So we're starting to grow here. Get some more names out there. It's very hard to find a 10-year-old around this area, right? So
Mm-hmm.
so it could be happening here, Miguel. You'll be getting a video here shortly.
All right. Yeah, honey, I'm down. So what, like, ideally or hypothetically, like, what time frame are we talking about?
Hopefully on Wednesday night.
Oh,
On Wednesday night.
okay. I thought like several weeks from now. I thought I was
No,
like, yeah, we're
sir.
talking about. Oh, okay. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Seeing what the mind, you're gonna be the Freddie Roach here. You're gonna be the Nacho Bernstein in this fucking corner. Like you're gonna be the Mick or Mickey, what the fuck his name is, right? From I don't even know what's Mickey's last name from Rocky. I don't think I know his last name, but
No, I don't think they ever said Mickey's. I don't remember that. That's a good
Yeah,
one, dude.
that's
It's
a
a
good. I
good
don't know what
question.
his last name, but you're gonna be him, in the corner. So,
Yes.
looking forward to seeing that. How we might even post it on the damn show just to see. It's like who knows? 20 years down the line, they're like, oh shit, this is the first sparring session, right? So definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, us over here we're battling some allergies too, because I tell people all the time, like spring, although it's a nice weather, it's like the least favorite of my seasons. You know what I'm saying? I'm a cold guy. I like fall. I like winter. I'll even prefer summer before spring because at least summer, I mean, it's boiling hot here in Vegas, but there's a swimming pool everywhere you go. There's AC everywhere
Right.
you go. So it's bearable, you know what I'm saying? And there's
Right.
stuff to do. You can go to like pool parties and crap like that. But when it's spring, it's like still kind of not warm enough yet, but there's dust blowing all over the goddamn place. So it's the least of my favorite seasons. And this it still is, like, if we can point the camera in that direction, it's still blowing, the wind is still blowing trash all over the place, and you have to make sure that you roll up your windows all the way to the top of your car windows, I mean, while they're parked, because if they're cracked a little bit, you get a bunch of crack in there, and I freaking hate it.
Wow.
So yeah, allergies over here as well, but besides that, we're all good and dandy over here. So everything's good for that. Fantastic. Well, we will start kick off today's show with a couple of corrections, actually, because our good friend and old fan, I should say old, but
Uh-oh.
a fan from Fight Net Radio, Sam Navajero, wanted to give us a couple of corrections on a couple of things. Number one, we said it last week erroneously that Terrence Crawford, went overseas to take the belt from Jeff Horn, and he didn't. I totally thought he did. He actually did. I think it was Manny who went overseas. But when he took the belt out, because we thought, like, oh, there's going to be like some sort of backstory. He went to Australia to take the belt from Jeff Horn, and then he's going to go back maybe again against Tszyu down the line, which we'll talk about later on. But and then he was like, no, he never. It was Vegas the whole time. I was like, oh shit, was it Vegas? So it was Vegas. My bad. That's That's definitely something that we want to correct. And then he wanted us to mention, which one of the reasons I wanted to go over the card is the undercard with let me see here. So Sarafa, who's the Australian, Sarafa, is going to fight against Arislani's Lara on the undercard of Tszyu and Fundora. So we're going to mention him, of course. So Sam, we didn't forget about you, dude. Thank you so much for listening, as
Very
always.
nice.
So we appreciate that. Want to make sure we threw in those corrections. All right, now that we kind of stringed that out, ironed it out. So last night's DAZN card, it was okay, Actually, I keep saying last night. So really, yesterday mornings, yesterday's afternoons.
Yeah, that's
DAZN,
what got us.
yeah, that is what got us, and it always gets us, man. When I know it's on DAZN, I'm like, I tend to, like look into it after that. When I realize it's
Right.
DAZN and I know that they have a lot of UK fights, I'm like, damn, I gotta check it out. Which sometimes is cool, because sometimes there's a really good UFC pay-per-view that same weekend or that same night. So I'm like, fuck, I don't have to be switching back and forth because I do that. So I'm like, I don't have to be doing that and have my freaking living room look like a sports book with like two TVs going on at the same time, and it happens. I have my laptop on, I have my desktop, and I have the TV on. And that happens. So it's kind of cool when they have early morning fights and you don't have to switch back and forth later on in the evening. But there was a kind of okay UFC card last night, so I'm like, I wouldn't have been minded. I wouldn't have minded switching back and forth a few times because the card was kind of mad. But anyway,
Is
starting
it the
off.
one? Did a kid get bit last night?
Yes,
So that did happen. Okay.
Got fucking bit, and the dude went on to like tattoo the bite on his arm.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it's kind of like his, and then the guy who bit him, as soon as like officials and the Dana White in particular saw that, he's like, yeah, cut that motherfucker. We're not gonna have that shit in here. So they let that dude go, and it
Oh
sucks
wow.
because he's a young cat, and it looked like he was, there was some promise in his career, right? And now it's like, bro, you can't be doing that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
And
it
you know
was.
what? What was weird about the highlight? I didn't know what the advantage he was getting. At first, I thought the other guy had maybe his arms locked up,
Mhm,
so he was trying to bite one to make him let go. But the
mhm,
replay kind of didn't show. It showed he had already had his arms apart, but
mhm,
maybe the
mhm.
guy was too strong. That's what I was thinking right now. Maybe he was just too strong, so he's trying to loosen up, loosen up his arm, taking a little
Yeah.
bite out of it. Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
It was nuts, dude. And you know what's funny? They were against the fence, and then the guy who got bit he kept holding onto the fence. So when the referee stopped it, I thought that's what he was doing because he stopped it basically, be like, "Hey, let go," because sometimes they warn them and then they take a point for holding onto the fence. You can't be doing that. So when he stopped him, I was like, "Oh shit, he's gonna warn him now because or no, he's gonna take a point because he's been warning him a few times to let go of the fence." And as soon as the referee stopped it, the guy who was holding onto the fence was like, "Hey, look," and he was like pointing, and the referee's like, what the fuck, right? And then he turns to the other dude, and then the guy tries to kind of play it off, like, oh, my mouthpiece fell out, and he's like looking at it, and he's like, okay,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Oh my gosh, dude. And
So
then
I
and
use his skin.
yeah, exactly. It's like I was using the skin as a gum shield. So yeah, that was last night, and home dude got let go, and then the guy who got bit, as a commemorative, memento, went to go get that tattoo on his body. I don't know if you want another man's freaking teeth marks on your tattooed on your body to be like, oh look, this happened, Yeah,
Yeah.
at least you have a good excuse. It's on television. Otherwise, you'd be like if you don't have any proof on how that happens, like yeah, some man bit me. Like, all right, it's a good idea to get a tat. But yes, that was last night.
Nice.
The card on the zone. The main event. I mean, well, we can start off with the unfortunate first loss of Campbell Hatton, who
Oh
is
yeah.
Ricky Hatton's son. I don't remember right offhand if he's gone 10 rounds before or this was his first 10-round fight, but it was scheduled for 10. And in a losing effort, it was a unanimous decision. It kind of looked like he like runs out of gas, you know what I'm saying? And you see flashes of like his pops in him, that like grit, but it just he doesn't seem to have like enough pop. He doesn't seem to have that kind of cardio, and I don't want to, you know, basically disregard it already. Be like, guys, he's just another one of those kids who try to, follow in his pop's footsteps. That he knew this was the easy route in life because his
Right.
dad is who his dad is, and he's gonna go that direction. It didn't look like that, at least not at first. It wasn't no Chavez Jr. type shit. So, but now it's like, maybe that talent skips a generation. I don't know, but he went in there with as much as he could, and it's unfortunate, but I kind of like the fact that this first loss came early on in his career. I kind of always feel like or I think that if the first loss comes later in life, I think it hurts him more. Like maybe mentally.
Right.
It
Right.
happens sometimes. Right off the hand, I can think Felix Trinidad, like that first loss, or his first loss against Bernard. I think that fucked him up. You know what I'm saying? And it happens. And even Vargas, Fernando Vargas, that loss against Trinidad, and it's just like, I think if it comes later in your career, I don't know, that's such a good thing. And we'll see how Spence, accepts that first defeat. So I don't like. I'm sorry. I don't mind the fact that that first loss came early in his career. But there you go. Hatton, unfortunately, I'm not sure. I don't think you caught the fights, Andrew. But what do you think about that first loss?
What's sad about it was the young man was starting to be mentioned by the Saudi prince, right? They were talking about getting Hatton out there to fight Terrence Crawford, which was bizarre that the prince would even look at that fight at this moment, but he did. That was one of the fights I guess he was interested in, was a Hatton versus Crawford. So he was right there. He was almost there to get at least a payday, So it's kind of, is it a coincidence that once he got on that kind of radar that he took a defeat on the very next fight? Did that kind of mess up his head? Maybe, messed up the training. We're going to see how he responds. Now is when it gets tough, right? He's either going to go down the path of destruction, or like you said, going to change, tweak a little things in training and move forward, take a step forward with this. This is where it gets tough. We're going to see how he responds. His father, unfortunately, didn't respond well to his first defeat, correct? There was many stories of Ricky he just was not disciplined at all. No. So Matthew has to do a bet. He needs to choose the right side, the right path to go down. He's very young. He can still do this. This is just, one loss on his record. Obviously, they got to rematch the guy, try to get that and Hatton, I've already said, Matthew has already come out and said that he felt he won the fight. So I don't think the rematch is Campbell, excuse me.
Yeah.
Matthew's the brother.
The uncle. Basically the Roger, and I guess the Roger Miller in this scenario, essentially.
All right, so Campbell Hatton needs to get the rematch. Try to get that at least the title of beating every man he's ever faced, right? That's kind of what they do.
Right. Get that win back.
When you get that loss, you try to get the rematch to get that title on you. And that's about it. But yeah, when you watched Campbell previously, I do agree his power never seemed to be there. That's one thing we've always talked about with him. He hits a lot, but doesn't seem to be moving these lesser opponents. So as he takes a step forward in the competition, his power was really going to start to become in question.
And like it's almost like his ability to take a punch isn't I've seen some of the shots that he was getting hit by his opponent, and James Flint was his opponent who took the victory, and it just seemed like when and they say this all the time, and I think there's some football coach who said it, fatigue makes a coward of us all. So once he starts getting tired, like it just goes out the window. When you would see, and that's one of the things that I give Ricky Hatton a lot of credit, is that when he came in, he was like ready, like cardio wise. Unfortunately, he had the habit of blowing up in weight in between and ballooning up in between fights, and that kind of I think that ballooning of up and down, it happened to even Riddick Bowe. When you let yourself go in between fights, it really affects you having to drop back down again, and that yo-yo really deteriorates your fucking kidneys, I think, even. But it doesn't seem like Campbell is like that. He seems to be pretty disciplined outside of the ring, which is good. Where he goes from here, whether or not he stays disciplined from here on out after this loss, we'll have to wait and see. But that is one of the things that I give Ricky Hatton a lot of credit for, is even when things didn't look great, when he fought Luis Collazo, I want to say, he was getting handled, and he just had that back down on your mouthpiece and go at it. I don't know if Campbell has that, or maybe he hasn't been in the position to show that yet, because when your dad reaches a certain superstardom and you kind of have luxuries in life, you don't seem to have that same hunger that in this
Of
particular scenario,
course.
father and son, right?
Of
And I don't want to
course.
say you grew up with the silver spoon per se, because it's not like that was the case with Ricky himself. But I think he definitely had a little bit more luxuries after he made it, beating Costa Tszyu and whatnot, becoming a big name. And maybe Campbell just doesn't have that hunger. We don't know, but I won't speculate at this point.
You
I want to see how he recovers after this loss. Go ahead.
you could say his childhood was better than his father's and his pro debut because of his father,
Yeah,
right? He had more
yeah,
recognition. There was more cameras on him. Come on, like he's always had it better. So yes, it's going to be very hard for him to bite down and really fight for it. I mean, his dad might still have millions in the bank too. You know,
true, true.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah.
I've really never heard of Ricky having financial issues. He kind of seems like to be the cool guy that hangs out at the bar all the time. Not saying he's supposed to, but that just seems to be all the stories attached to Ricky Hatton is he's doing
Right.
something silly in his hometown at the bar, the local pub. If it's throwing darts, if it's doing bringing his cars. Did you see the one where he had like a little beat up ass car? Like he comes to the pub in a regular car. He's not flashy. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So hopefully he still has all of his money, and his son is just has a little bit better. So
yeah.
um, you're gonna have to, Tszyu. You're gonna have to be like Tszyu, where I don't think Kostya was really in Zyu's life. I hate to be, I don't want to be a dick, right? Doesn't it?
You kind of get that impression,
Yes,
when you
I
and,
never see his dad.
yeah, and that's the thing though. But like, and we'll talk
Yeah.
more about that in depth a little later on. But just to briefly touch on that right now, I always thought, and maybe I'm misinterpreting it, because maybe that is the case. He's just, maybe they're not as good a father son combo as
Yeah.
others. But I always thought, and again, maybe I'm misinterpreting it, that Costa was like, I'm not gonna steal the spotlight. I'm not even gonna fucking be there. I'm gonna let him concentrate on what he has to do. The cameras won't even be on me because I'm gonna be in the fucking dressing room. But I've seen clips of the dressing room and I don't see him there either. So I'm like,
No. And he's
I don't
been at Nikolai's fights. Is that his brother's name is Nikolai,
know.
right?
Nikita.
Nikita. He's been at
Yes.
his fights, bro.
Has he? Oh shit.
Yes.
I don't think I
I've
noticed that.
watched I've watched and I'm like, "Oh, well, Zoo's there." And Tim will be he's been at some too, where both all the
Yeah.
dad and the brother both
Oh,
they're
okay.
I've seen it and I'm like, well, where's Kostya when it's just Tim's fights? So it's kind of, there might be something going on. And then remember how he was like, what's my motherfucking name? Remember how he's kind of has a little chip on his shoulder?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and I was going to bring up Floyd. Floyd didn't have his dad, right? His dad's a
Mhm.
pro athlete too, but his dad goes away. So maybe even if your dad's a pro athlete, you might not, if you want to have success, they can't be in your life. That might be the story here.
Maybe, because it can't work for everybody, right? Like
Right.
we've seen it work for some, and I don't know what the percentages is of like how many times it has succeeded as opposed to how many times it hasn't. So
The
maybe
Vargas,
we'll, but
the Vargas boys, the
mhm.
Vargas brothers, they're going to be the next ones that see if they can get it done with their dad being as successful as he was.
Yeah,
You know,
that's true.
because
That's true.
because
Because
his dad didn't win a lot, but made a lot of money in his career. You
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean?
and
For
got a
them,
lot of fame. Like we're talking
yeah,
about him, So
yeah,
granted, maybe he didn't win as many titles as like other people that won, 54 or whatever it was at the time. But this many years, we're still talking about him. So the
yeah,
impact that he made is significant. His fame.
yep, yep,
All right. Well, we'll make sure to touch on that a little bit later on once we get to the actual, card breakdown, because that's going to be towards the tail end of the show. Besides that, there was a co-main event of females title on the line with Terry Harper taking on Sandy Ryan. Now, this was kind of a weird one. Sandy Ryan ended up coming away with the victory. She held on to her WBO welterweight title. She's fight this, Terry Harper, who prior to this, I think her last like major loss was against Alicia Baumgardner, but that was like I think it was like super featherweight, so it's like 130. I don't know what the hell she's doing fighting at 147 against somebody like Ryan, but yeah, it was a one-sided ass whooping really. Like basically Harper was like went back to a corner after taking a few rounds of pounding, and they're like, no, we're done. So I don't know. She dared to be great going up to 147. I don't know if she's had, fights at I want to say she's had fights at 147 before, but I mean, she's way too small. And she doesn't look it. Like her build looks like she'd make it, but I don't know. Going from fighting Alicia Baumgartner at 130 a couple of years ago to, fighting at 147, that's kind of a leap.
Right.
And it showed because she seemed to be the better boxer. She's able to land some shots on Ryan, but they did not phase Ryan at all. And it was just like she just kept steamrolling. And I want to say it was the fourth round. Yeah, after the fourth round, the corner was like, "Dude, are you okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I think I'm done." So yeah, it was a fun fight for as long as it lasted. I would have liked to have seen go a little bit further, but I think Harper knew immediately that her punches were going to do shit, and I don't think she belongs at 147, honest, but I think she's had a couple of fights there already. And I think one, as a matter of fact, I'm pulling up here real quick. I think it's, I think she's fought, that's kind of one of the things about, female boxing. It's just like, because there are so few, you kind of have to go up and down and wait to find real challenges. Yep. And, sometimes they don't work out for you, and those challenges, those risks that you take don't pay off, and it doesn't seem to be paying off for Harper. She might have to come back down and wait if she wants to continue. I'm not sure where her age is at. She doesn't seem like she's up in age. Maybe I'm wrong about it, but anyway, TKO victory for Sandy Ryan. It was fun. She basically, as a matter of fact, she was training here in Vegas for this fight. She said they're both English fighters. She came to the UK. She came from the UK to Vegas. Sandy Ryan, I'm talking about, to train. So she's been training here for a while. She said she wanted to kind of like get her mind out of that and basically go elsewhere to train and concentrate. And this fight, of course, was in the UK, so she had to fly back for this fight. But it was a nice little co-main event. I enjoyed it. I reckon that I like to watch women's boxing when I'm familiar with the names. That's kind of that's one of the good things about also like women in the UFC, that there are so few of them that you remember their names. They don't have that many fights on a fight card. As a matter of fact, last night's UFC card was main evented by a female fight. And as a matter of fact, next week's will be, I think that's like the first time ever that 2 back-to-back UFC cards were main evented by women's fights. But I think because it's still kind of a novelty thing, it's not as big. I remember the name, so I'm like, oh shit, and I was like, Terry Harper, but I forgot what weight class they were. I was like, oh yeah, Harper, I know who Ryan is. I've seen her fight. Like, oh shit, cool. That's gonna be a pretty decent fight. Turned out to be a one-sided ass whooping, unfortunately, but that's what happens. You're fighting at 130, then 135, and then immediately go to like 147. That shit happens, right?
Yeah, I didn't watch that fight, but I did watch Clarissa Shields' PFL fight.
Oh yeah.
She fought recently.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so it was a good first 2 rounds. Didn't end well for her. She's lucky that bell rang. Did you watch the end? The girl had the full mount. She was dead tired. Clarissa had worked her pretty good, where the young lady was tired when she finally got the upper hand. Ground game, got full mount, fucking over. She just started bing, bing, bing. I was like, oh my God. It's like 30 seconds of Clarissa like, ah. I was like, try to get up. She doesn't try to get up. She did a very good job in the first 2 rounds. Sprawling, her sprawl was on point, and there was one time where she got taken down. She was able to get right up. And the girl had good credentials. Both of them mediocre MMA records, right?
Yeah.
But she was like some ex-military jiu-jitsu artist, so it was cool. And Clarissa, we all know, is 2-time GOAT, the GOAT of women boxing. So she got a victory, but the bell saved her. In this instance, you can say that the bell saved her. She needs to work on her ground game a little bit more. Of all day she had to do. She was you can tell Clarissa is strong in this ring. Her legs and she needs to learn how to wrap up and stall. You know what I mean? She's got to make it to where the ref needs to say, get up, But yeah, she got a victory this time, but don't watch the last 30 seconds, boxing community.
It didn't look too good for a girl, Clarissa.
No. Yeah, it was a hell of a fight, though. It was a good fight. It was entertaining. So yeah, shout out to Clarissa. She is now 2-1 in the MMA world. So.
Yes, yes, and as a matter of fact, so who she fights for is the PFL, a Professional Fighters League, that's what it's called. That's the MMA organization. It's called PFL, and they're going to be having an event here in April 12th, I believe it's going to be here. And last year, I was thankful enough to, grateful enough and to get credentials, on my own, like MFI feed. So I'm gonna see if I can get in and see if I can find Clarissa and be like, hey, how you doing? See if I can find her and maybe ask her a couple of questions and put it on my channel. So Fight Fiend Mix is where I'm at, both on Instagram and YouTube. But that's more on my MMA channel, I guess we can call it. But she got herself a victory, so that's significant. She's not 50-50 anymore. Now she's got 2 wins and one loss. Good for Clarissa. I'm sure she's going to continue down that route because you're right. She's strong, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like how she will do in a main event or in a title 5-rounder. She's still a ways from that. So maybe by the time she gets there, she is, significantly better, if that's even the route she wants to go for. So I know there has been some talk about her and Chris Cyborg as well. That's just maybe too soon to talk about all that stuff. But yeah.
With the connection to the Saudi prince, she's got a great avenue to make some serious money. If she can stay in the PFL, don't ruin it by giving Dana White some bullshit fight. You're playing with the big dogs right now. We all have to admit, Canelo tried to get some big money. We'll talk about it in a little bit. He tried to get that big money out of these guys. Clarissa, just keep doing your thing. Win on the PFL. Build that momentum with him and his league. He'll cash you out and get one of those fighters over there. If it's Cyborg, it's Cyborg. It's whoever with this man. But I believe he'll cash someone out to get that PFL fight big. You know what I mean? So just do your thing and leave Dana White alone. He don't deserve you, Clarissa.
Yeah, it's kind of an asshole sometimes. But yeah. So that leads us to our main event: Dalton Smith taking on Jose El Chon Zepeda. That fight didn't go too long. 5-6 rounds, I think it was ultimately.
5 rounds. 5 rounds.
All right, cool. So Dalton Smith ended up coming away with the victory. A knockout victory because he ended up landing a straight, I think it was a straight right to solar plexus, and they just crumbled. When you see the veins pop out of the neck, they're struggling. It's like, oh shit, he got hurt. And it's oftentimes kind of a slower reaction. So when he got hit, he's like, fuck, and it kind of stayed still, and he's like, I hope he's not looking, I hope he's not paying attention. And then he realized that Smith immediately realized it and went after him, and then he took a knee, didn't land that last fucking shot that he threw, and he stayed down for the 10 count. Considered a knockdown, of course, a knockout, because he didn't get up and beat the 10 count. Damn, that was, Zepeda wasn't doing that bad, really. Like, it wasn't like he was getting blown out necessarily. He was getting hit, but he was doing his own. He was coming forward a lot. So that's Zepeda's kind of like MO, really. And, ultimately he ended up getting stopped. It was a good victory for Dalton Smith. I still am relatively unfamiliar with Dalton Smith. After the fight, after the victory, he ends up calling out another English fighter who was undefeated. I guess there's some sort of backstory, a slight beef between the two guys, and they're going to potentially fight for the British title later on. The win made Dalton Smith the silver WBC super lightweight champ. Nice. So that made him a super lightweight champ. That's 140. That's right now. I know welterweight is usually called the money weight, but right now it's the junior welterweights that are doing the thing with the names and the superstars in that weight class. Kind of surprised me that he didn't want to call any one of those guys out, especially the fact that he has himself a WBC belt now. But he was like, no, I'm going to go with the European championship and go after some other, dude. I won't say some other dude because the guy's pretty significant as well. But anyway, he went in that direction. First and foremost, Andrew, what did you think of that fight?
Good punch. I agree that it looked like Zepeda thought about it. He still had a little fighter in him. He didn't just go down. He tried and he goes down, and then his air doesn't come back. But he did give it a thought of trying to stay up. I like that. What I don't like, this is the 3rd time he's been defeated out of 4 fights. This is the 2nd time he's been knocked out. It could be the end of the road for Zepeda. He had a great run, but this is a bad stretch for him. And then this knockout here, he has been stopped before, but this knockout was a 1-punch knockout. It's just not a good run for him. So, well, Dalton, is that his last name?
Smith. His first name is Dalton, last name Smith.
Dalton Smith. 16-0-12. It's a great win on his. Look, Eddie Hearn's stable needed this, man. These guys are like fucking
Yeah, they
Mexicans have been whooping their ass
Yeah.
for a few years now. You know what I mean? It's like, I know they have to be nervous when fucking Eddie Hearn brings up a Mexican name as an opponent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they needed this win. I think that's why he was overly excited, right? He knows all of his countrymen been taking L's to these guys. Kind of doesn't matter what competition is in there. They've just been taking L's. So they got a W now on their side. Recognition goes through the roof. And now we kind of know him over here in the States. I like the fact that he doesn't want to come here yet. He's only got 16 wins. You know what I mean? Let him, the British title, that's great. Go fight for that. Get a little bit more experience under your belt. Then bring him over when you know he's good. Now, if Zepeda was some undefeated American or, had a belt or something, then we're talking different. 3 out of 4, he's taken an L. So we got to call it what it is. You know what I mean? It might be Zepeda was on his way out. But yeah, excellent win for him. Crowd looked like they enjoyed it. Everyone was on their feet screaming. So yeah, Eddie Hearn's got a little prospect. Hopefully he does not ruin that. And when he brings them to America, please let's not do it in like Phoenix or some bullshit ass. We're in Fresno, California.
Yeah, we're in Davenport, Iowa. Like, what the fuck? It's like, okay, I don't know. I'm not sure why. Let's not do that. Let's not do this like completely, like, oh, we went to Merced, California for this pay-per-view. Like, what the fuck? Who's gonna go over there? Like, is there a boxing? So yeah, let's do that. If Eddie, if you're listening, please, don't go there, buddy. Don't go to Kissimmee, Florida, or some shit. We need some guys. Maybe not Vegas, but maybe, I don't know, a little bit more. I don't know, Los Angeles. I don't know.
Los Angeles, yes.
Or the theater at MSG, right? It's not MSG, but it's that like Hulu. I think it's called the Hulu theater that went off to the side. That's cool. Do that. Do one of those. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get some recognition and don't get a Mexican. Get somebody else. Don't get a Mexican. Just an FYI. But great victory. He has himself. Dalton Smith now has himself a strap. So I maybe I was jumping the gun by saying, like, why aren't you calling out one of the big guns? But Andrew's saying, yeah, it's good. Stay over there for a little bit longer.
Because he's only 16, right? Because of the 16 victories.
Yeah, victories. Yeah. So pretty solid. The zone card, I enjoyed it. Whenever I watch these DAZN cards, a lot of times I don't know who's on the card. Like, I see the main event and I'm familiar with the main event, maybe one main event guy, and then this particular fight, I knew several. I knew Campbell Hatton on the undercard, and then Harper and Ryan on the co-main event, and then this one. I didn't know Dalton Smith, but I know Zepeda. So I was like, all right, cool. I'm gonna watch this one. This is gonna be a pretty decent card, and it was. Granted, there were some one-sided ass whoopings, but even those are fun to watch every so often. So good card. I dug it, and I like the fact that it was early in the morning, and that allowed my evening to be free to watch the UFC card unhindered. So, all right. So we're gonna move on from that pretty decent DAZN card to the. Well, let me see here. I have my notes to see which one I want to touch on. Which one we like to touch on? Let's go with let's go with what Steve Kim said recently regarding the New York State Athletic Commission.
Oh yeah.
But it seems to be they're now maybe backpedaling on their stance on potentially giving Ryan Garcia some sort of mental evaluation before the fight because of the erratic things that he's saying, things that are totally off the wall, that a lot of things that Ryan Garcia has been saying recently have nothing to do with boxing. It's not like he's even, if you're going to talk crap leading up to a fight, you anticipate that it's going to be about the fighter, his opponent, about the fight overall, not about things that have nothing to do with boxing. But that seems to be the direction that Ryan is going. Recently, Steve Kim went as far as to say that, and I think it was quoted as saying this, that I guess the New York State Athletic Commission, who initially was like, we're going to have to, give this kid some sort of evaluation because he seems to be off the wall with some of the things that he's saying. Now they're backing up because probably they don't really have the legal footing to do that. I guess you can't do that. What do you think? What do you think is going on? Right? I don't know what could be potentially happening here, but was it that the New York State Athletic Commission was like, oh shit, Ryan said he was going to try to sue us, maybe we should back off, or is it because they really don't have any footing here?
It sounds like they don't have any footing here. Ryan Garcia's therapist might have been right when he was talking about freedom of speech, correct? Which is all fine and dandy. I get it. I love freedom of speech too. Let's start off by saying that. What I don't like is a man who said he's seen children being raped, a man who said he would bite a person in the ring, a man who said that they're not going to stop me from punching this guy, right? These are all threats. These are crimes. These, like, what the hell? So you think he would be evaluated for those situations, like the biting thing, right? We've seen that in the ring. Let me tell you, boxing community, something. Ryan's going to give us a black eye on April 20th. Boxing needs to be prepared for a black eye with this kid. He's taking us all down with him. Believe that. Dana White is going to fucking crucify us.
He's going to have a field day.
He's going to have a fucking field day with how could we let a person who is mentally weak go in that ring and get handed to him. And I can guarantee you, bet the house, Vegas, let's put this on the board right now. On April 20th, Ryan Garcia is probably going to have a mental breakdown inside of the ring, crying and everything. That he warned us, he told us, he begged, and nobody fucking helped.
We saw the red flags. We saw the red flags, right?
Yes. Miguel, I'm going to bite him. I'm going to punch him until they have to pull me off of him. You know? Freaking...
What does he have to say?
What does he have to say?
I'm gonna bring a fucking pocket knife into the ring. Like, have it on my,
and you see Oscar, he's fine.
Yeah.
Nothing. Jose Suleiman, or is it Jose? What's his son's name?
Mauricio.
Oh, nothing to see here. He's fine. And Mauricio called the state athletic commission. That was out here this week too. They had a conversation. Be prepared for us to take a blow on this.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, you know what? I think Ryan also said, not to cut you off, but I think he said something like, if you think like Tyson Lewis security was, like what?
Yes,
are you fucking?
You're
is
right.
there gonna be some goddamn bomb in the goddamn building? Like, what the fuck does he have to say to have somebody like actually pay attention to what he's saying or be like, hold up, okay, that's far enough. It seems like he's having a free pass at this.
He's almost gonna change the sports world with this mental thing. I think you're going to see changes if this happens, where they're going to maybe look. We talked about this before about when you pull out of a fight for mental health, you should be evaluated to come back in. There should be some kind of, all right, you've pulled out. Now you need to go see our therapist, right? The state athletic commission gets to go ahead and evaluate him, have him go before they ever allow him to fight again. I think Ryan's setting this up. If this plays out the way look at, young man, you were an underdog before you went fucking haywire on us, right? He was the underdog already. Now this fight is, to me, they're making us watch a train wreck. That's what they're making. We all see it coming. They're not doing anything about it. The brakes are gone and we're not doing anything about it. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, they really need to they need to get De La Hoya and Suleiman and say, is this fight worth the backfire you guys might get from this? Oscar, there might not be too many fighters that want to sign with you if you go ahead and hang your boy the way you guys look like you're hanging him out to dry. And it's not, listen, this is Ryan's fault. This is not my fault. This is not no one else's fault but Ryan. He's the one that drinking online, right?
Yeah.
My therapist said I should smoke weed and take acid, hallucinogenics. Didn't he say that too? Or no, he said the one that Deontay Wilder was on.
Ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Thank you, Miguel.
That's right.
Yeah, he said that one.
Yeah.
What? It's a sad situation, one that I wish we'd avoid. Ryan's not this big. He's not this big. And Oscar and Bernard, you guys ruined him. It's not. Listen, what I mean by that, you guys didn't do it. Like what I'm saying is, what you wanted has happened. You could cut this kid loose. He's never making another dollar. I'm fucking being honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm being honest with you. This kid, his market is. You think You know, Ryan was like, "Oh, I want to lower ticket prices. I want to lower." How the fuck are you supposed to make 40 million in one night if they lower ticket prices, dumbass? Are you fucking serious right now? Do you know how Floyd Mayweather and Sugar Ray Leonard and Mike Tyson and Lewis, do you know how they made 40 million, 20 million a fight? Because they were selling front row seats at $20,000 a pop. Because you had nothing but movie stars and pro athletes in your first 2 rows surrounding the whole ring, basically. That's how you make that money, Ryan. You think those people are going to pay to come watch your weak-minded ass?
Yeah, give up in the ring.
Give up, cry.
Yeah, like talk about
nobody cares. Go ahead, Miguel. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna with that kind of like, let's just say for the sake of argument, he goes that direction and he understands that the fucking ticket prices have to be, sort of big. It's like you're gonna go in there like, what are they paying for? To see you fucking crumble? No, they see you to fucking win. They see you to bite down. That's one of the reasons why we're fight fans. It's like, it's unlike any other sport. You get punched in your fucking face for a living, and can you take it, or do you have to take a knee? You know what I'm saying? And he clearly is taking a knee, and not just in the ring, but out of the ring now, from what I can tell. So it's like, if we're gonna have these people buy tickets and you get paid X amount of dollars, it's because they're going to see a show. They're going to see you perform. They're going to see you at your best.
A gladiator.
Gladiator, exactly. You're going to go down in flames. Now, if you don't want to do that, cool. But we're not going to force you to fucking do that. Well, at least maybe fucking De La Hoya and Bernardo.
Maybe your dad, yeah.
Maybe your dad will. I guess maybe that's the direction it's going. But that leads us to the point that we're talking earlier. It's like, what does this kid have to do to get out of this fight? Because that seems to be what he wants to do, is get out of the damn fight. He's trying to throw everybody else around him and saying like, no, you're good. Let's keep going. And maybe I don't know, his parents or his, as whoever is in his ear is trying to be like, dude, yes, you can do this. Trying to get confidence in him. Maybe, I don't know. But he seems to not have confidence in himself. Huh?
Do you see a Victor Ortiz versus Floyd ending coming? The headbutt, yeah, right? He's losing. He gets wrapped up. You start like, I just do this fight.
I mean, you coined it. It's gonna be a black eye, just like that. Ortiz and I mean, hell, when you said, honestly, when you said Victor Ortiz, the first thing that came to mind was when he like walked off against Maidana. I was like, oh, well, maybe that is what we're gonna get. Shit, I thought we're gonna get either direction, right? We're gonna.
I'm too pretty for this.
Yeah. Like, I should be taking these punches. Like, yeah, maybe you should get out of the way, motherfucker. Yeah, maybe you should block him.
I have a modeling career.
Yeah. And so, and as does Ryan, I suppose. So it's like, okay, well, bye. Then, it's cool. It was nice while you were here, but peace if that's where you want to go, which again is fine. You're gonna want to do it. You're a grown ass man. You can make your own choices at this point, or sorta, I guess. But we might get, and you too called it a few weeks ago. You mentioned, are we gonna have Oliver McCall replay in the ring? With the referee being like, Are you fucking crying for real? Okay, we're right here. Let's say. And then again, it's and the reason we're bringing these examples up is because these examples are exactly that, black eyes in the sport.
That's
right. We might have another one, come April 20th. So yeah, that doesn't seem too good. The athletic commission seemed to kind of back away from it, and this is kind of, and again, every week there's like more content, more something coming out where I'm like, I'm starting to think this dude was faking it from the beginning.
Miguel.
I think. Hang on, real quick. Okay. So he fakes it, right? And in his mind, he's like, I'm trying to get out of this fight. Prior to this, when you said like they really need to take a look at these fighters before they come back after they had these mental breakdowns, he comes back relatively quick. Still okay. I don't think he was really that fucked up to begin with. That's why they gave him the green light real quick to come back. And then now I don't. And again, I'm not saying that I don't necessarily believe him, but it's like, after seeing the things that he's been doing now, and we mentioned it before, he's the boy that cried wolf. I don't know if I fucking believe him. And when we don't believe what he's doing now, then I'm starting to question. I don't think I believe what he was doing before. That shit that happened prior to it. I'm not sure if I believe in that now. So
and remember, there was rumors about he was getting a divorce, or he had like remember, there was a bunch of other stuff going on in his life even at that time. Yeah. I believe we lost Ryan Garcia to social media. I think the young man is look at I always talk about the easiest passive resistance. That's what this whole thing is surrounded about. Everyone likes that in life. His easiest path maybe doing some pay-per-views like Jake Paul against some MMA guys, get some MMA guys in a boxing ring. Fucking that O'Malley being probably the number one guy he would go after. And he's still going to make, 20 million or so because the YouTubers, that fan base might still buy into that with him. Remember, half of his fan base are not real boxing fans, right? They come from social media. These are not diehards. So they might follow. Yeah, they might follow him over there. And he might have realized that. And to me, this young man is nothing but a content creator right now. This is, and when I thought of that is when I watched the Face Off. And in the Face Off, Devin Haney tells Ryan Garcia, I'm going to knock your ass out. It's going to be funny when I knock you out. And Ryan Garcia's response to that is, I'll put it on my feed as a reel. I'll put it. That's what he's thinking about. This dude just says he'll knock you out, and the first thing you can think about is how many views you're going to get from it. Sad. It's sad. We might have lost him. He's not. Well, he's not.
Did we ever have him? Because he was kind of,
he was
kind of star. I mean, from the beginning, he was, no.
He had flaws. Maybe it's the matchmaking of Oscar. Then can we go back and say Oscar and Bernard, they are great at fucking making these guys stars then? Because, I mean, he was a pretty high prospect. That Luke Campbell fight is a great fight, man.
Sure.
Campbell was no punk, and the dude drops him with the body shot, and you're like, wow, he's knocking all these guys out, but now he has this left hook to the body too. He was on top of the world at that point. And I think he was serious. I think he was taking boxing serious. I don't think he's taking boxing serious today. I think today it's a paycheck, and he can't wait until he can go fuck around in the little YouTube world. Seriously. Now, Ryan is not remembering is you're only as hot as your last
your last fight,
stunt or fight, however you want to say it. Yeah. But you can cool off really fast, even on social media.
Sure.
And he takes another defeat where he's blaming everyone else, and I don't think April 20th is going to end nice. Now, dude, granted, he knocks Haney out. It's going to be sad. I got to come back and eat a lot of fucking words. But
yeah, but it's not.
I don't
like that.
It's not. Yeah, I don't. And then no one's saying it, right? There's a lot of people who are like, this fight is trash. He gets embarrassed again, where he doesn't look like he was ever in the ballpark of a real professional fighter. I don't know how hot he's going to be on the internet. You know what I mean? I really don't. How many YouTubers will come back? I know a lot of boxing fans. If you follow this story, he's lost a lot of fans in this. His likes are going down. The comments are terrible. You're dude, you need to step away. You need to back out. I used to be a fan of you. I'm not anymore. Like, there's a lot of that on his feed now. Now maybe he turns into Floyd and gets 1 million buys because we all watch to see him lose. But I don't think that's the case because he already lost, and he's not Floyd.
He's not backing it up. He's not backing it up like Floyd was doing.
He's not Floyd. So he's losing his momentum as far in the boxing community. April 20th is going to be big for him. I hope he's taking it serious. But what he's shown me is he's not Devin Haney. Devin Haney's his training videos are just, dude, like Devin Haney's showing workout videos. He's showing he's eating healthy. He's showing he's running. His body it already looks like he's a sculpture. You know what I'm saying? Like he's on weight right now. Ryan's over there showing us mitt work. He's over there showing us some fucking stupid ass. I don't even know what he's shadow boxing. What he was doing the other day. That
in slow motion
music.
And like slow motion stuff. Yeah. Did you see? You see Derrick James in the back? Like he's like, I don't even know what the fuck. Like take the camera off me. Fuck. I don't know what the hell was that about? But yeah, that's that doesn't look good.
It could be content.
Sure.
Did
I freeze? I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it just went away real fast.
Well, we're still recording, so
I see the
timer on my end. Yeah.
I'll just leave it. It could be content that they were doing there. Maybe Ryan was like, I'll get hella hits if I look like a dumbass, and you just make it look like you're disappointed, right? He might be doing all of that right now.
Sure.
So shame on The Nevada State Athletic Commission. I'm blaming everyone right now before April 20th. Shame on you guys for acting like you cared, then you don't care.
Yeah. No, New York,
Shame.
New York.
Oh, yeah, New York. Excuse me. New York State Athletic Commission. Mauricio, Oscar, and Jose. Is that his dad's name?
Is it? Probably. Yeah, we'll go with
Ryan's dad.
Yeah,
Ryan's dad.
Ryan's pop.
Yeah, Pops. Fucking blame all of you guys, man. You guys are about to make us go through some fucking embarrassing ass times if this thing plays out the way that everyone sees it. I see it, how I see it happening. So yeah, that's all I got for the Ryan Garcia update.
He's like the sacrificial lamb, basically. Like they're just sacrificing him. We're about to see, some, what's his name? Devin is the lion, and it's kind of crazy because they say back then they would feed the Christians to the lion, right? Which is maybe it's a coincidence, but what's his name being a Christian, Ryan Garcia, right? Being a Christian, but it's like he's being fed to the lions, right? I guess technically, right? We're about to see it. So, yeah, all right. Well,
I wish. And one last thing, I wish they would put out some serious, give us 2 minutes of him doing serious stuff. Like, let's stop with all the bullshit. Let's get this fight back into what it's supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope they don't play this all the way to April 20th, the nonsense.
Well, they might. I don't know. What do you, it seems, at least, hold on. We're talking about, we still have, today's the 24th, so a little under a month to go.
His last ditch effort would be throw a punch at the press conference. That's going to be his last, right?
Ditch effort to get out of the fight, you mean?
To get out of the fight would be to attack him at the press conference, and then that's when they would call it. And then his career with Golden Boy is over. He can then move on to YouTube.
But would he risk that so close to the fight?
I don't know. I don't know if the kid wants to get in the ring.
Because here's the thing: if you want to get out of something, you want to get out of it as quickly as you can. You don't want to wait until the last minute, because by that point tickets are sold. I don't know if they already are, but stuff like that is already in. Maybe he doesn't give a fuck at that point. I don't know, but it's just that's way too close to pull the plug on something, I would think.
It's where his mental is on that week. Okay. But if he's looking at in the eyes of a guy he's fucking scared of, and he never wanted to be in the fight. We got to remember, he might never have wanted to sign this contract. This all might have been forced on him.
Right, exactly. Because we thought it was going to be fully, right? So.
Yeah, it's just, who knows? It's just, I don't like it. Dana, leave us alone when it happens. Dana wouldn't have put this fight on. I'll give him that credit. I think if Ryan would have acted like this in the UFC, Dana White would have pulled this fucking fight, man. It's very sad that boxing's allowing him to get away with everything. Threats, crime, fucking drinking, smoking. We just let him get a free pass on it all during this. Kind of weird.
Yeah, it's it's a shame. Well, we're gonna rapidly approach that date, so let's see what comes in the coming weeks, and we can definitely touch on that and revisit it, because I can damn near guarantee you there will be more in the coming weeks. That's a damn sure thing. All right, moving on.
The big news, baby, the big one.
The big news? Are you talking? Or did you read something else, or am I talking about?
No, I'm talking to you.
All right, I thought you looked down for a second. I was like, oh shit, did you read something else on your phone? So the things that we've been hearing lately, this past week, I think it was last weekend, we had the Canelo and Munguia press conference leading up to their fight on May 4th, the Cinco de Mayo weekend, which is a couple of months away. We finally got Munguia. He's the winner of the Canelo sweepstakes. He's the one that's going to be confronting him once the Cinco de Mayo weekend. And there was a press conference to move the needle and get some publicity, right? That's usually how it is. And one of the things that Canelo was asked about left and right by all sorts of media outlets is in their eyes and their definition, the apparent ducking of David Benavidez. That is basically what everybody and their moms are saying. Every fan is saying it. All these guys calling Canelo fanboys or fanboys and saying well, what's your excuse now? Yada yada, et cetera, et cetera. And Canelo, I'm something tells me he was fucking trolling, but maybe he was serious. I don't know. but he flat out said like, man, give me 100 million or 150 million, 200 million. I don't know what the fuck he said. It just sounded very I don't know, you would call it fucking Dr. Evil-ish, like 100 billion, gazillion dollars. And I don't know, I think people kind of lost their shit over it. And I've seen everybody, I don't know, maybe he was serious. Fuck if I know. But I got the impression like this fucker, like, no, I don't think. But hey, maybe the excellency was like, oh, maybe we can make it happen. I don't know. But nonetheless, that is one of the things that has been going around is this number of whatever the fuck it was, 150, 200 million, some shit like that for Canelo. Canelo asking for that amount to fight David Benavidez in the future, after Munguia, of course. And David Benavidez's response to what he was saying. Everything from maybe that money will help him buy himself a set of balls. That is the first thing that comes to mind is what he said. But Andrew, what do you think of that? Do you think he was trolling, or is he saying like, no, let me get my ride off into the sunset money?
Listen, at first trolling. It was a great way to get that fight talked about all over the internet. As soon as he said, give me 150 to 200 million, the haters started with the whole duck thing. Now Benavidez looks like a superstar, right? Now his name is like, oh, David Benavidez, he really is scared of him. He's not. He's not. I wish Canelo would have left it at the only thing David brings to the table is 25 pounds. That was a mic drop for him. That was one of the best quotes I've seen in boxing in a long time, man. Because honestly, David, Mr. Benavidez, that's all you fucking bring. I don't give a shit about all this talk about how bad you are, this and that. You have tried pay-per-view twice and have failed twice. The Mexican community is not backing you. Sorry, bro. They're not. You don't get 60,000 buys in the Mexican community if they're buying you, if they're backing you. We would show up, we would be buying your fights. That's all there is to it. He's lost his title on the scale. He's lost his title to drugs. Like, stop acting like you're some badass Olympian who's been tearing through the division. No, you're not. You're a PBC fucking stable guy, planted, given title shots. Like, scratch all that. He had him with the only thing he brings. Have you seen the Munguia versus David Benavidez matched up together?
No.
On paper, Munguia is better. He has more title defenses, more fights against ex-world champs, better not get, like, look at, I think I sent it to you, bro, but yeah, look, it's like, on paper, Munguia has better stats in his professional career than David Benavidez, yet here we are talking about him being the fucking, the guy he's scared of, please. Yeah,
the Mexican monster that I think Mike Tyson called him, right?
Yeah, the Mexican monster that no one cares to watch. How about that one? You know, you gotta bring something to the table when you're trying to get this man. So what he tried to do was get the Saudis to pay the debt that David Benavidez can't make. That's all he did there, right? Hey, let's throw a softball out there, and they didn't bite. If you see, the Prince already said, nope, I'd rather have Benavidez fight the winner of Bivol versus Beterbiev.
Yeah.
Hella funny. David was like, fuck.
yeah, because those guys, and mind you, like, maybe the Saudis are like, hey, we'll give you a nice significant amount of money for that, because at the end of the day, that was kind of the point of these mega fights is there's high risk, high reward. Yep. There's a high risk of Benavidez getting smashed by Beterbiev if he gets past Bivol, which he most likely will. Well, I don't know what the odds are yet, but that's a high risk fight. If he wins, holy fuck, Benavidez looks like the shit. But he might get smashed too. So
and if
at the very least,
what sucks about if he wins is it leads to nowhere, man. Benavidez in the light heavyweight division leads to nowhere. He's gonna have to jump up to heavyweight.
Well, I mean, what about Zurdo at like cruiser or something? Because I think Zurdo will move it to, and that's significant, beating another Mexican. And I think
it doesn't generate any money though, Miguel.
No, it probably doesn't. No.
It doesn't generate any money. Zurdo Ramirez is a nobody right now to boxing. I mean, the guy was barely on the radar before the Bivol massacre, and and he's had his own troubles in and out of the ring too. So I don't see that fight gaining any momentum here. It's a doable fight. Not saying that they couldn't do it, but it ain't no Canelo money. It's no, it's not like we're like, oh, David Benavidez belongs on the pound for pound list. He just beat Ramirez. It's none of that. So he goes, no, he's just gonna have a career at light heavyweight. You're not gonna be a star. He's gonna need guys to start moving up from super middleweight. We know Canelo isn't. I think Canelo's already tried 175, and I don't think he's going back.
Well, what about what if, like, looking down the line some years, what if Canelo does make another attempt? Like, let's say for the sake of argument, Benavidez, I don't know, wins a belt or something. Because right now we're gonna get June, I think it was June 1st. We're gonna get Bivol and Better BF to unify the division, and there's gonna be an undisputed light heavyweight champion. Boom, they're gonna have all the belts. So there aren't gonna be any belts floating around for Canelo to nab when should he go back up to 175. But will we anticipate him? Like, is this basically gonna see? Are we gonna see Canelo end his career at 168, or is he gonna make another attempt to 175?
I think
maybe by that point, the Benavidez fight is more appealing.
Sometimes I think the timeline just doesn't work for these fights, and unfortunately, I think the Benavidez and Canelo timeline is just not going to reach. Canelo's 34 now, or he's going to be 34.
He'll be 34 in November, I think.
You give Benavidez another year of getting into his full prime, and you're another year down the road of your retirement. Like, it just doesn't match up for him unless they give him 150 million. And like he said, I'll fight him tomorrow. I mean, I just.
What did it have been? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, what's that?
What would it have been? Because this is kind of why I think Canelo, why Mayweather decided to fight Canelo at that point, is because waiting another year would be Canelo getting another year better and Floyd getting another year older. Should have Canelo fought Benavidez now? Because, using that example, waiting too long is going to be another year into his retirement and another year of Benavidez getting better. So wouldn't it have been a smarter thing to fight Benavidez now before he gets even better?
Yes, of course. But it's not going to happen. Benavidez is moving. He's moving up to 175. The Prince already said he doesn't want to see Canelo and Benavidez. He'd rather him fight the winner of Bivol and Better Beef. And I don't see Canelo coming down on his price. I mean, what would be the price? 80 million? He's not going to go from 150 million to like 30. No. I mean, right? That'd be a joke of a negotiation. And I don't think the Prince, listen, Saul, you're not that great. Saul Alvarez has always done the thing of outpricing himself as of late. And again, he outpriced himself for this fight. He's not Floyd Mayweather. I know he likes to act like he is, and he likes to stink. Dude, there's people that say Saul Alvarez should have like 3 or 4 losses on his career. Like, there's guys that argue Lara beat him.
But I mean,
it doesn't matter. He's not Floyd, right? And how do you know the Prince isn't like, yeah, right, Triple G beat you fucking 2 years ago? How do we know he doesn't have that response, right? I'm not paying that guy. That guy has more losses than he believes. So you're not that good. I'm telling you right now, Floyd Mayweather demanded that money. Guess what he would have gotten at that age? He would have gotten 200 million. So, sorry. Let Floyd be 34 in this Prince in boxing. He would have gotten $200 million. If not more.
If not more. David Benavidez's dad, I'm reading right now, one of the things I sent you, said that they're willing to do a hydration clause to make the fight happen. Like, it's starting to reek of desperation. Like,
yes, bro,
it's not gonna happen. Like, yes, you want the payday, understandably. You want to fight the best person in your division, being Canelo. You want to get the belts. I get it.
Right.
I mean, because here's the thing.
Dude, did you see what David wrote?
No.
David wrote to the Prince. It was like, if I lose, I'll donate my whole check to whatever charity you want. I was like, oh my God, bro, don't. Please. Please.
Well, it's just like, but that's the thing, though. You kind of understand it because you just basically like nailed the head on, hit the hammer, or hit the nail on the head with Otherwise, what's the alternative? He just has a career light heavyweight.
That's right.
So it's kind of like you understand the desperation. You know, it sucks that he's in that position, and like you said, the timing is really bad. But I feel for him. I get the desperation. It's like he really, really wants to make this fight happen, and he's like, if I can fucking convince his excellency to do it, you know. And
he even calls him that. He calls him that in the letter, dude.
Oh,
yeah, it's fucking total. Yeah, it's like, bro, go see P. Diddy. I mean, come on. you'll get your fight. Go.
Yeah, that's I mean, damn it, it's such a tough position to be in, but it's like, what other choice do you have? You know, go up to, you know, there's a very, very good chance that that better be able to come away with a victory against Bivol, and it's like, that's who you're waiting for. That's who's waiting for you at light heavyweight. Fuck, you know, like, damn, that's quite the proposition.
He's a big man. He might want to start putting on muscle and try to go for a small heavyweight title and then have a payout there. That's the best I can do for him. He's got fast hands. You know, he's even got like Andrew Ruiz, that they could do a fight. Him and Ruiz could be his first fight. Ruiz hasn't fought in how long? I have no faith in Andy that he's still ready to go. Benavidez should be looking at a fight with him on pay-per-view for his first fight into the heavyweight division. That's all he's got really left in his career, is to just gain muscle. All that flab that he has, he needs to start fucking getting some muscle and see if they can work their way, 30 more pounds maybe to get into. And to be honest, I wonder what his walk around weight already is, you know?
Well over, I have to assume he's already at 200. Because like, he considering I mean, even that his fight with, he didn't look that way against Andrade, but against Plant, he came in like kind of gaunt. Like you can see it in his cheekbones, you know, when he hops on the scale. And you know, I don't know how much longer he's gonna be able to kill. I mean, he's already gonna go to light heavyweight, I get it, but I don't think it's going to help him to potentially move back down to 168. If he will do it for the payday, and he'll gonna give up his probably if he ends up fighting you know, Canelo at fucking super middleweight. But that ballooning up and down. And he's naturally a big kid. Like you can see photos and videos of him when he was younger. Like he was a chubby kid, you know. So I'm sure his body is just naturally gains weight. So the gaining weight isn't the problem. Staying at super middleweight is probably a problem because, you know, 168. His walk around weight, I'm gonna say easily 210.
Yeah. So the right eating, remember, the way these guys are putting on weight nowadays is a lot different to what the sport was, you know, 50, 60 years ago. So, or it might even be 30 years ago. So the supplements, the dieting, everything is different, man. He has the size to maybe go like him and Usyk. That's not far-fetched to see them two in the ring. Usyk was from the cruiserweight division, correct? I don't think he ever fought light heavyweight, right?
Maybe he might have early in his career, but he didn't make a splash in the sport until he was a
cruiserweight. So, but it still, to me, is doable. That's a doable fight.
But are they going to even be around by that time? Because we're talking about a few years from now. Will Usyk even still be? You know, we're thinking of current opponents for a future hypothetical.
I don't think Al Heyman wants him in with Bivol and Better Beef, so you can pull that one off the board. And if they're talking about Terrence Crawford moving up and Spence moving up to fight fucking Canelo, and by next year, why couldn't Benavidez be a heavyweight by next year? To me, and maybe Ruiz not the first fight, but why couldn't he make the jump? They're asking everyone else to make these jumps. You know what I'm saying? So, and there's big money up there for Benavidez. Heavyweight contender, a Mexican heavyweight contender is big money. That's big money if he can pull it off. So that's, I think, more likely his future than a fight with Canelo or the winner of Better Be versus Bivol. The Prince would totally have to blow his socks off with the offer, which I don't even know why. I really don't. Unless this guy is just into those one-time fights and it's just something he wants to see, well, then maybe it happens. But to me, there's no future. There's just the light heavyweight fight division was on a standstill until His Excellence put in the fucking money to make the Bivol Better Beef. Bob Arum has said it. That fight never gets made unless this guy gives us what he gave us. He basically paid for both of their guaranteed purses and to put it on the ESPN for free. You know how much money he gave him Disney to do that?
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Could imagine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney was like, all right, fuck it, we'll do it. Go ahead, take the fight, whatever.
It's like for who? I don't know. Yeah, sure. Okay. We'll do like, how many zeros? Oh, okay. Yeah, fuck yeah. Let's do it. Yeah. No, that, I mean, because, I mean, let's just, again, hypothetically thinking down the line, by the time, this time, like next year, or maybe 2 years, we'll say, maybe by then we'll see, just, hypothetically speaking, David Benavidez at heavyweight, we'll say, maybe someone like Real Big Baby or something, by that point is kind of something hot, that seems pretty reasonable, right? That's not too out of realm of possibility.
Yes. And I think, and I want to say, Al Heyman has a few heavyweights that he's recycled in the PBC. Sure. That they could probably start. They could probably do a good career as long as David wants to do it. They could probably do a few wins there before he has to step in with the guys. I mean, listen, Zhang versus Wilder just got made. Sure. You let Wilder take another bad defeat, he might be open for Benavidez pay-per-view because he's not going to have any options. That'd be his third loss.
Yeah.
The Benavidez fans are going to be interested. Whatever fans he has will be definitely interested in him making a heavyweight run. If it's someone with the guy that has 3 consecutive losses or 3 out of 4, whatever.
Yeah.
A bad fight because, like, dude, David's coming up from light heavyweight. Fuck no, I want to watch him versus Wilder. I might even be interested. I'm dead serious. Let Wilder get knocked out again. I still might pay to watch Benavidez fight him just to see, does this kid have it? Isn't he 6'1" or 6'2"?
Oh, I don't know. He's a tall motherfucker. I'm not sure how tall he is.
He's tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's over 6 foot, man. Like he's a smaller heavyweight, but it's been done. Sure. He has the hand speed for it. You know that. So great fight. Great fight. But it's an avenue. It's an avenue, and it's an avenue to make some big money. So let's not beg for this Canelo.
It's the alternative, because really, if he can't secure this fight with Canelo, then that really is the only other avenue. So like you said, it is an avenue. It is a route that he can go. It's another form. It's another direction he can go. Thankfully, he has sort of kind of that direction. So I guess that's something that he can look forward to. That isn't like, fuck, if I don't make this fight with Canelo, my fucking career's over. It's like, no, at the very least, there's somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel by going, and it's not going to be easy. No, by no stretch of the imagination is someone saying it's going to be easy, but you might have to go through light heavyweight and maybe cruiserweight and maybe make the leap at that point. But it's definitely possible. It's plausible, and it's another direction that you can go if the fight with Canelo doesn't come through. And I mean, and I mentioned this before. I remember Canelo saying that he has roughly about 5 years left in the sport, and I think he said it's last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess we're down to 4. Is he gonna not fight Benavidez in the 4 years? Like he's gonna find other opponents to fight within that time frame if he's gonna continue fighting for the next 4 years.
Terrence Crawford is gonna be a way huger fight for Canelo than David Benavidez. So if Terrence Crawford moves up to 154, takes that guy out, and still has no other option, believe me, they're going to make that fight.
So and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because first we heard that he's going to fight, Eubank Jr. Eubanks, I don't know what it is. But anyway, I'm fairly certain that's a middleweight fight. I could be wrong, but I thought it was a 160. So, and then at some point, I think Bomac said like, nah, it's just BS. And now we're hearing that it's confirmed. So I don't know what to know, but I mean, he's going to completely skip 154 and go straight to 160. Another 8 pounds.
Let's give that 7 days, because Tszyu's fighting next Saturday, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's hold off on saying that for 7 days, because there could very well be an announcement next week that Terrence Crawford is going to fucking Australia. So let's let's hold off, because that's a huge fight, and they're also saying Spence is moving up. We know Canelo loves fighting the smaller guys. Let Spence get a fucking victory at like 160 or something. I would see Al Heyman doing that fight too.
And you know what? That seems, because back before Spence's loss to Crawford, that wasn't a talks at one time.
No,
like that was the word that like, oh shit, we're probably gonna get a Canelo. And I don't remember. I don't remember if Canelo was still at 160 at the time or not, because I remember I want to say he was actually, because I recall thinking, holy fuck, Spence is going to go up 2 weight classes. So if he was at 147 at the time, 154, then 160. So I think Canelo was probably, Canelo was probably at 160 at that time. So that fight was, talked about. Now, I don't know how far into the talks that even got, but that was the word in the boxing circle for a minute. It's like, oh shit. And then, the with Canelo having, an association with PBC and whatnot, that seemed more plausible. Like, oh damn, I guess we're probably going to get this fight at 160 at one time. It ultimately didn't happen, but maybe it still will, especially if, Spence, like you mentioned, Canelo's recent foray into fighting smaller guys happens, and we could have a potential, and maybe, like, I don't know, maybe he will still fight the other Charlo. There's a lot of, fights for him.
Avenues.
I guess, I guess it doesn't necessarily have to be Benavidez, because that's the first thing that came to mind. I thought, you got a few more years left in your career. You're gonna, and shit, I guess, he only fights twice a year, huh? I guess just May and September. So I guess realistically, he has plenty of opponents that he can fight that aren't named David Benavidez.
Right.
All right. Well, that was fun. That was intriguing. I like the fact that you mentioned Crawford, because we're gonna move on to this next weekend's pay-per-view card that I wanted to touch on. The Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora pay-per-view card that's going to be, if I'm not mistaken, both on DAZN pay-per-view and Amazon pay-per-view, I think. I don't know if it's going to be, because I see, and maybe I could be wrong, but I think I see like both of the logos on the poster and the post that I've seen. So I might have to go back and double check that. But we know for sure it's going to be Amazon pay-per-view, right? Because that we've talked about for several weeks at this point.
Who fights for DAZN?
I don't know if anybody on the undercard. Oh yeah, maybe it's not. Maybe that's DAZN. I could have sworn I saw the logo for DAZN on the shit. Maybe I missed.
Yeah, no, because I think that was for the Munguia. Munguia and Tszyu is going to be on both PBC and DAZN.
Gotcha. All right, cool.
Yeah.
In that case, Amazon.
Yeah, this is their big come out party, man. This is it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So this is going to be it. This a lot of things changed, right? The last time that we talked about, because we were talking about how the fight could potentially go down with Tszyu and Keith Thurman. That was the last time we made a show, and then since then, Keith Thurman had to pull out of the fight. I believe he said he ruptured something in his arm.
Tore his bicep.
Okay, so he tore his bicep. There's even a video of him, talking about it and talking about his health. He has his arm in a sling, and that's the real deal. So obviously, things happen. I want to say right off the bat, I do recall Steve Kim saying, that's due to, number one, your age, number two, inactivity, for staying out of the fucking ring for as long as you have. That tends to happen. And I know Steve Kim is a big, what's the word I'm looking for? He encourages activity a lot out of the fighters. He hates the fact that a lot of these fighters tend to take a lot of time off in between fights, and they're just simply not as active as fighters in previous eras. So he doesn't like that. And I have to agree with him. I hate the fact that sometimes I just don't like the fact that Canelo fights only twice a year, or he did at one point. So I would like to see those stars and superstars fight more regularly. And we see the thing. We talked about Keith Thurman, and I guess really the only thing that he brings to the table as far as fighting Tszyu is his name, his recognition, whatever he has piled up prior to it, but not really a legitimate threat, because he is on the older side. He is inactive. We talked about, the last time he fought, the last time he fought before that, after his first time off. So since the last time we had a show out with Keith Thurman, in comes Sebastian Fundora, which I believe he was on the undercard anyway. So he's training and at that weight class as well. Well, that sure as hell changed, right? I mean, like, we went from Thurman, and Tszyu has talked about, whether or not this really changes things, and he was like, no, not really. We're kind of already, training anyway. Conditioning is going to be there regardless, but we're gonna go into this fight ready, pretty much is what he was saying, regardless of the opponent. Now, that pay-per-view card has a few fights on here. Primarily, first and foremost, of course, Lara, another inactive fighter, Arizlandi's Lara, who's going to be fighting Michael Sarafa, who of course, we wanted to bring up because of our good buddy Sam Navajero. I don't know where Lara stands at this point. He's on the way out, but kind of not. He's kind of done this, resurgence of his career at middleweight, and he has himself a strap that he hasn't defended in God knows how fucking long. But we're gonna get that fight. I'm not sure what to say about that fight, other than it's about time we see Lara back in the fucking fight. I don't know. What do you think about that before we get into like the main event and whatnot?
I mean, I agree with you. It's about time Lara is back in the ring. Kind of seemed like the PBC has really stalled out his career, man. The guy should have had many huge fights at 154, 160 already, and just none of them have developed. We're talking Bo Charlos. He could have faced them already. Never happened because they have the same trainer. Like, you think Lara gives a shit about not making $1 million because he has the same trainer? Get a different fucking trainer and let's get the fight on. You know what I mean? The Triple G fight, that fight, it just seems like it should have. It's been sitting there for years. That those two could have faced off at some point. Just never happens. Jaime fucking Munguia. Like, why didn't that fight? Like, I just feel so bad for Lara. Like, Lara should have had so much money. Yet he's just allowed this, and maybe he's making good money with Al Heyman just fighting, be average opponents. But they really stalled his career out. So interested in seeing it, not really, because he is on the older side. And where the fuck does he go from here? A compo?
Yeah, right.
Another PBC stable and some obscure undercard fight.
Yeah, and he's a title holder, so I'm pulling
and that's
up.
Never mattered. That's never mattered for him because he has the title of Cuban. That's the first title he holds, and so Al Heyman's like, "Well, I don't do nothing with Cubans."
Like, did you know what happened to Ortiz the last?
He's on. I'm doing. Let's do a DNA test. And you sure there's not a Mexican flag somewhere in there?
Yeah. You don't have, let's do the 36andMe or whatever the fuck it is, right? Yeah. Like, let's make sure. Like, it's like, Laura, next time you fight, can you put a Mexican patch on your shorts? Just kind of, give me, like, help me help you. Help me help you. Oh, fuck. So he's going to fight Zerafa. I guess, we wanted to bring that up. He's on let me see here, on a 4-fight win streak. So I don't know if he's, to my knowledge, at least from what I'm pulling up here, he's never had like an actual world title. Zerafa I'm talking about. So this is like his first crack at the real deal.
He's a young man. He's a young man that fought both Horn and Tszyu. Is this the Zerafa that fought?
He fought Horn. He fought Kell Brook. He lost to Kell Brook.
Okay, so the Tszyu fight fell through then, because I believe they were supposed to have some big Australian showdown.
Yeah, at one point I think there were talks. I was going through his Zerafa, and there's like a lot of fights that fell through for him. So this is one of the first ones that actually like went, and I'm not sure right offhand if he's fought outside of Australia at all. Maybe he has right offhand. I don't remember, but this is going to be his first one. And
you're going to get corrected.
I'm pulling it up here. I'm pulling it up to see if this fucker if Zerafa has ever fought outside of Australia. This is going to be probably his first fight outside of Australia, because I have to make sure. I got to get the fact checked. Got to get fact checked here. But I got
my money. I got my money on Lara, man. I got my money on Lara. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Lara's fought in the U.S. plenty of times, and he's fought in Vegas plenty of times. So he's going to be the most comfortable one, I have to assume, going across the country. And oftentimes fighters have to whatever country they're going to be fighting in, they have to be there for some time to get acclimated to the weather and the time difference and all that other stuff.
Hey,
yeah.
You see what Al Heyman's doing here, though, right? You just said Lara. Hey, Lara has a title.
Yes, I think WBA title.
And it's at middleweight.
Yeah.
If Zerafa wins, though, is that Tszyu's first title shot?
At 160?
Yeah. On his way to maybe possibly a showdown with the cash cow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, man. I see what L's doing there, trying to create a little avenue. It's a big Australian fight, right? You get a little, and you put a belt on Zerafa. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Zerafa, yeah, man. That makes that fight a little bit juicier for them over there. So, that's an interesting twist. I I just thought of that. Oh, then maybe that's why he's on the undercard versus a belt holder. You know what I mean? L's trying to work something out there. All right.
Yeah,
Poor
that makes
Terrence.
sense.
Yeah, poor
Yeah.
Terrence.
Well, I mean, hey, look, he's gonna, we'll talk that in a second here, but he's gonna probably try to pull that card, like, hey, I need the mandatory, so that's gonna be interesting to look forward to. So that's gonna be one of the card openers. I'm not sure if it's gonna be the pay-per-view card opener per se, but that's gonna be a title fight on that pay-per-view card. Then we have, of course, the co-main event of Rolly Romero and Pitbull Cruz. That one we're going to be looking forward to.
The main event.
Well, yeah, I see.
That's what some are saying, man.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of, and maybe it was even the main event before this.
Yes.
For Fundora, and no knock on those guys. I get it, but it's like we know that's the card. I mean, that's the fight on the card that is getting the most buzz. Realistically, that's the one that. And I showed you that video of Rolly having that, skit of him, like, going out to the desert and beating up that fucking piñata or whatever, right? It's like, all right, hey, he's creating buzz, maybe in the ring is one thing, for Rolly, but out of the ring, he gets eyes on him,
Hey, Miguel, it was a great idea until they went out there and the wind fucking took that piñata fucking a few miles. Rolly was like, fuck, man, I gotta go drive and pick that up because it just takes off, hey. You just see the wind just take that thing. The balloons are all flying. I was like, oh, man, he either left that shit in the desert or he had to go drive and go pick all that shit up.
Yeah, he's like, whose job was it to check what the weather was gonna be like?
Yeah, exactly. Fucking piñata just went down the fucking mountain. What the hell?
You had one job. Yeah, check the wind for this one day they were going to do this photo shoot. I can imagine they didn't get too fucked about that piñata. They're like, man, fuck it. Just get out of here.
It's like Area 51 UFO now.
Yeah. Somebody at some point, we're going to see it stuck on some tumbleweed or something. Be like, oh, is this the piñata that was used for the rolling?
There's a glitch in the Matrix. What is that? It's the fucking piñata in the air.
Yeah, exactly. And lands in someone's yard like it's some sort of, how as Mexicans we're all, religious. They're like, oh, we see fucking, Pitbull Cruz's face on a piece of toast. Like, oh, this means something. It's like a water stain on the wall. Like, oh my God, this means Pitbull Cruz or something. He's a saint. Oh God. Yeah, that's going to be something to look forward to.
Oh my God.
Somewhere in the desert, there is a Pitbull Cruz piñata floating around.
And it's like I don't even know who to go to, Miguel. You listen, I'm Mexican, so I love my Pitbull Cruz, right? You like see him win, but boxing kind of needs Rolly Romero too, right?
Yeah.
The guy kind of knows how to sell tickets, get eyes on the fights, so it's kind of a toss-up of who I want to win. May the best man win, I guess, is what I'll say. But yeah, Pitbull to me is still my favorite going into this fight. Mm-hmm. Rolly's gonna have to change my mind with this so-called one punch power that he seems to be convinced that he possesses. So.
Mm-hmm. And now that being said, I mean, just make sure I did hear you correctly. You don't know who you want to win, but who you think is actually going to win? Are we going to get?
Oh, Rolly. I mean, excuse me. No.
Oh, okay.
Pitbull.
Damn, you really switched on me real fast. I was
No. No, sir. No, I think the pressure of Cruz is just too much, man. And the guy knows how to throw bombs on the inside. You like doing that shoulder roll shit? It's a bad recipe. So Rolly's going to really have to tighten up on his defense with the inside fighter like this. That's kind of how you beat a shoulder roll, right? Punches and get on the inside and just keep fucking you can't do this 4 times and miss everything all the time. They're gonna start hitting. Then once you break that mental that you're in his zone, dude, it starts getting better, juicier for you. So that is the style to beat. Duran told Canelo that. Chavez used to do that to all shoulder roll. He'd give a fuck about your shoulder roll. He's throwing right hands and left hooks, and he's coming all day. Isaac needs to get that into his system, get on the inside, and start delivering combos. Right hands, left hooks, fuck the jab. The jab, to me, to a shoulder roll gives the fighter an out. Now, in the middle of the ring, that's different. But when you get Rolly to the ropes, he's got to land his shots. He can't waste those opportunities where he has him up against the ropes doing this as defense. Got to lay into him. So, Madonna versus Floyd. How'd he get in that ass? A lot of overhand right hands on those ropes, man. Soon as Floyd went to that rope, Madonna was coming over the top and then just started going bink, 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 both punches flying. Clearly beat Floyd in the first fight. I'll watch it with anyone. Any Floyd fan want to go one-on-one with Madonna Floyd the first fight? I'll watch it with you because I don't have 7 rounds that I give Floyd in that fight. I'm sorry. You also look at the Jose Castillo matchup. It's another inside fighter taking it to him. And if you look at De La Hoya versus Floyd, De La Hoya did a great job. Now he's landing sissy shots. Not saying they weren't Chavez-like left hooks. Sure. But the last time I checked, when a punch lands to the body, these are points. And Oscar sure did land a lot of those on that night. So just that is the way he has the style to get in on Raleigh. I believe it happens. From what little I've seen of Raleigh Romero, I don't think he has the pop to drop him or to keep that pressure off. Sure. So I'm going with Pitbull Cruz.
Do you think it ends within the distance, within the 12 rounds?
That I don't know. I would probably just take Pitbull straight up because I don't know what his power is going to look like at the 140 division now. And you know, Raleigh did get stopped by Gervonta. Sure. So yeah, this is a big fight for Romero because if he gets stopped again, then his chin is actually probably not good enough for the elite. Not saying that he can't win in the sport. I'm just saying when you get to the top 10, your chin doesn't seem to hold up. So look for Raleigh Romero to try to stay in for 12 rounds on this fight. If he doesn't, his chin is just not made for this sport.
Okay. All right. Do you think the height difference is because this is something that Pitbull Cruz has to deal with and deals with on a regular basis, is not having to not obviously regular basis because against Tank there was like more even, of course, but really for the most part everybody else, and maybe he doesn't seem to have too much of a problem landing to the face. But would it be a good idea for Cruz to just focus on maybe the body for the first few rounds and then start going upstairs later on? Because again, the shoulder roll isn't that great from Raleigh, but is it enough? Is it enough to get the victory out of Raleigh? Would it be a good idea for Pitbull Cruz to just focus on the body at first because of his height? Like, do you think he's going to be able to reach what's his name, Raleigh early on? His face.
I mean, definitely needs to be a game plan is to break him down. But I think his first obstacle is getting on the inside. So he needs to get on the inside. When you're there, you can really do whatever you want, because you're in his zone now, right? So I don't. The body's great. Yeah, go for the body, but his first thing is to get on the inside and then just throw your combination. Start touching them and see where it goes. But no, this is an excellent fight. Both of them are good fights. I think the diehards are going to buy this event, Miguel. I don't know if the casuals
the PBC diehards. You talking
about the PBC and some boxing. No, just really? Boxing. Yes. Okay. The boxing community, we don't get good pay-per-views all the time. This looks to be building up into a decent pay-per-view. I don't know what the price is. I don't know what they're charging.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I haven't checked. We got. Yeah. Oh shit! Hold on, it's next weekend, and
yes,
you don't. I have yet. Let me see if I can look it up. Go ahead, and keep talking. I'll look it up here real quick.
So we have 2 good fights. Boxing doesn't have that many great fights anymore, so I think you have a lot of guys, diehards, that are not desperate. That's not the word, but we're like fiending, right?
Thirsty. We're thirsty.
Thirsty for some action, yeah. So Fundora is better as far as competition than Keith Thurman. And I think Vegas showed us that when the odds came closer. Poor Keith. But actually, when he pulled out, the odds came down that for Tszyu. So that sucks. So that's good for us. Sucks for Keith Thurman. So and then there's a lot of unknown there, right? The dude's 6'5". Fucking Tszyu was like looking up at this guy totally. So that was it. That's gonna be interesting. I know he's coming off.
You can penetrate it. You can penetrate because
yeah,
just because you're tall doesn't mean they know how to fight tall. And
that's
he's been penetrated before, so maybe that's the direction he's gonna go. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's totally correct. And he has the style to break that down too, because he throws that straight right to the body a lot. he does that a lot, and Fundora has a big body to let him hit that target on.
It's a big target. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I see Tszyu breaking that down. But it's a better fight because the kid's younger. They're still unknown to him. You know what I mean? Like, he was a prospect in the 154 division. He was doing fine, building his momentum. He had some notable wins before his Mendoza defeat. And Mendoza turned out to be a decent fighter, right? He has another big upset win that gets him into a title shot. So it was no knock on him losing to Mendoza. The bad side of the Mendoza loss was how he got knocked out.
Yeah.
His brain was definitely jarred loose that day. So we don't know what his brain is going to react to these punches from Tszyu. It could be a mental thing. It could be a real, he got his head rocked on that night, but he definitely hit the canvas. He's out. He was out.
For a quick second when he landed, he was like stiff, like he was stiff for a quick fucking second. Then he like came back to consciousness and he's like, oh yeah, I'm back. So even after the fight, he was interviewed and he seemed to still kind of be okay. So I was like, all right, cool. Maybe they gave enough time, and that was a while back. So I think he understood it, and people around him. He has some good people. I'm assuming his parents, his team, or like just take some time off, let that shit heal properly and whatnot, because it was a while back already. So I think he had plenty of time to rest. This was supposed to be a fight, and now,
yeah. How long has the rest been? What are we talking about here?
That's a good question. I thought we were going on like 10 months or so, but let me see. Let me just double check that real quick. Let's see here.
Almost a year.
Almost a year. I wanted to bring this up here as I was bringing it up here. Let's not forget that the Romero fight and Cruz is for the WBA title. So I don't know right offhand if Cruz has had a title shot at somebody besides when he fought Tank. But it's a winnable belt. He might come away with a belt and make himself some sort of name or some sort of possible opponent at 140, which right now is the money fight. But But anyway, but before we get into Tszyu and Fundora, I too think Cruz is going to come with the victory. Of course, I have to root on the Mexican. It's just how it is. I'm going to have to root him on. I do think he finishes him within the distance. No knock on Raleigh. I just think that right now this is a bad opponent for Raleigh, and I suspect he's going to take him out. I'm going to say within 7.
All right. So what we learned today is Miguel can never be a judge for any Mexican fight.
No. I was.
Did you hear what happened in the NCAA March Madness for women?
No. What happened?
So the NCAA had to switch a referee for a women's game because they found out the ref had graduated from that college. How did that not get checked, Miguel? A whole half, she's like, nah, la, no favoritism going on here. That's her alumni in there. What the hell? At the free throw line all day.
Foul, traveling. Like, what travel? It was a travel. Oh man.
Yeah, they switched.
Who's doing the background checks here, guys? Who's doing the background checks?
Oh, hey, they're fired. Whoever was doing background checks for the referees don't have a job on Monday. NCAA had to step in at halftime and switch a ref. Not a good look. Not a good look.
That's the thing. You think it was Adelaide Bird who gave Canelo the draw, but it was actually me. I was handing her the fucking card. Another one. No. Oh fuck. But yes, that does lead us to the main event with Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora. To go back to that KO, we're looking at April of 2023. So hey, 11 months, a little shorter.
Not bad.
That's not bad, right? It's plenty of time to rest. And granted, they wanted a different opponent. Obviously, he was going to be on the undercard against somebody else, and now he's kind of bumped up. But I want to say I saw him. Was it an interview or something during like an open like a media workout? And Fundora was asked when did you guys get the call or when did you guys make the decision to go forward? And he was like, the same afternoon that they gave us a call. Like literally the same afternoon that they gave us a call. They're like, yes, we'll do it. Fuck it. So was that the right choice? I mean, it puts him back into the main event spotlight, and it puts him back into the the limelight of headlining a card. But would it be too soon? Is it too soon for Fundora? Should he have not gone, taken it? I mean, I don't know who else they would have chosen. Maybe they would have gone with Fundora's opponent at that point. So he's like, shit, I don't want my opponent to get this opportunity. I'll take it.
Yeah, that's a hard one to say. I don't know. I'm not in his camp, but he's in his prime. He was a prospect before the sudden knockout loss, right? It
Yes,
wasn't like he
because
got beat down.
right, because I thought he was winning on the cards. I thought
Right.
he had him, so it wasn't like, and he does take a lot of punishment in his fights. It happened against Lundy as well, so he does take hard punches, but he was winning. I could have sworn he was ahead on the scorecards, and it was very sudden. You're right.
These opportunities don't always come up, so
Sure.
I think it's a good move to go for it. Look, Tszyu's a little bit unknown. Tszyu's a great prospect, but it's not like he's a bona fide pound for pound. No, you don't want to get in the ring with this guy, right? So he might catch. Tszyu has some learning problems too.
But Tszyu just completely mopped the floor with the guy who knocked Fundora out. So it's like maybe for a quick second they had some reservations about it. Maybe like I don't know if I want to do it. But yeah, not to say again that and mind you, another thing that I think Sam wanted to correct us on, that Tim is the WBO champ at that weight class at 154. I think that was like stripped from Charlo. I don't fucking know, but at this point, he is a legitimate WBO junior middleweight champ or super lightweight, whatever.
Yeah, and we knew that because remember they didn't mandatory Thurman. It was a non-title bout because Thurman had never fought there. He's 2 years out. So Tszyu was the champ, but this just was not a non-title fight. Now, did they sanction this fight? Is this one up for the title?
That is a superb question. I'm pulling it up right now. I don't know. I mean, right offhand, because
it might be too fast, Tom.
I think so, because I'm not even sure. It's a 12-rounder. It's the main event, of course, but I'm not even sure if that's even going to be, because I've seen some of the posters and stuff, and I don't remember seeing that labeled on there, at least with the update of Fundora on there. So I'm not sure, but I don't think so.
If I was Fundora, I would have tried to have upgraded that fight to a title defense, because now what you're saying kind of plays in more. It kind of sucks to beat a champion and not get a belt, right? You're still on the challenger list, and you beat the guy that had a strap. So that's kind of a tough one to bite, because he is a prospect. Another defeat could be a tremendous loss to his career, right? Especially if he gets stopped. So yeah, he is taking a big risk here. The reward should still outweigh the risk, but it's a huge risk that Fundora, give him more respect to him for taking the fight on such a short notice. Will that affect both guys? They only had like 2 weeks, under 2 weeks or something for each other, right? I would say advantage to Fundora, because Fundora's fought in many guys like Tszyu. Has Tszyu fought in anyone who's 6'5"? And now, like you said, though, Fundora needs to use the 6'5" range, and sometimes he doesn't do that. So he needs to kind of change up his. But if he's able to use that long reach, Tszyu might be like, what? He might have no answer. Never even faced something like this, So
mainly because it's short notice. Because a lot of times, I mean, if you look at Honduras' past fights, his fighters, they announce the fight and the fight comes through. So his opponent, has plenty of time to make up a game plan to get inside, and it's worked. So couple of weeks, is it enough time for Tszyu to come up with a game plan? Be like, fuck, okay, this guy gets in, he lets fighters get in, but how do they get in? We got to come up with something quick, what I'm saying, and to try to get in that. Because is it possible? Sure. With enough preparation, maybe, obviously, well, it has happened, but with this little preparation, I mean, maybe not so much.
Advantage Fundora. With under 2 weeks, I would say advantage, Fundora on that one. Yep.
All right. I wanted to bring up something that we mentioned a few moments ago that I found. What's his name? Dan Rayful says, the broadcast team has not been announced, nor the pay-per-view price, which is expected to be at either $64.99 or $69.99. So we're looking at $65 or $70 for this fucking pay-per-view.
Hey, you know what? That's old school pay-per-view money. I'm not mad at that. I mean, it used to be.
But not an old school pay-per-view fight.
No, it's not. It does. You're not even getting a championship fight in the main event, right?
Probably not.
Probably not. So he'll have a title there, but there will be no title shot happening. So I don't mind that price, man. When they started getting up to the 89 and 99, I was like, come on, seriously, this is where pay-per-view is going now. So it's kind of cool that they're giving us this little break, giving us almost $30 back maybe. I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I will probably drop 64 to watch this fight. I would do it. It's to me is not a bad price for four decent fights. Decent, they all. Hopefully, they're not all. I don't even think there'll be one punch knockouts. Like I think that Rolly Romero Pitbull will be an entertaining fight, and the main event's going to be entertaining. So it's not bad. It's not a big cool. Props to Al Heyman for giving us a break on that. Once again, though, I still got to say I don't think the casuals will give a fuck. They're not going to
Yeah,
buy.
and that's the thing. I mean, we can call us hardcore, or maybe there's people that know even more than we do, and they're more hardcore than we are. But we might be willing to pay that amount. Will the casuals be willing
No,
to pay 65 to 70 bucks for
they don't
something
know
like
these
that?
guys. They
They
don't
don't know
know
these
them.
guys exactly.
They don't even know Rolly Romero. You have to be a diehard to even know who Rolly Romero is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So they haven't made big enough splashes. This fight probably does 60,000 tops. I'm gonna give it the
50
same
bucks. Yeah.
the same audience that the PBC has been pulling in for all their other fights. Now, will they tell us the truth? Because you got to think
Because
Amazon.
PBC they know how to keep their mouth shut when it comes to numbers that don't do very well.
Yeah, because you got to think Amazon's not going to even be interested in releasing the numbers if it doesn't do good, right? They don't get into things that go, oh, look, this one totally fucking blew it. So they would probably be hush on the numbers. If we don't hear any numbers, we're going to know it doesn't do good, and they're going to move right on. So I won't know the true answer probably to their pay-per-view buys, but I'm not expecting over 100,000. And I don't care what kind of platform they are. It's the people that are in the fight. You have to know the sport to know this boxing card.
So check this out. So I went to the Amazon website. They're like they actually have the under the Prime Video category. They have the option to purchase the pay-per-view already.
Okay.
So they have it for 70 bucks, 69.95. So it's 70 bucks. Now
$70.
they have a small little paragraph of a description, and I'm gonna read it to you. It says 1 night, 4 world title fights. Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
It says it all kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. Undefeated rising star Tszyu takes on Sebastian Fundora. No mention of a belt there. Immediately they go to, and Rolly Romero defends his super lightweight championship against Mexican star Pitbull Cruz in the co-main event. Plus, middleweight champion Lara takes on Michael Zarafa, and Julio Cesar Martinez duels with Angelino Cordova in the pay-per-view opener. So, though the way they just glossed right over that without saying it's giving me the immediate impression that Tszyu's WBO title is not going to be on the line.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks for Fundora, like it would have been nice for him to be like, yeah, I'll take the fight, but put a strap on the fucking line, like something like that. Shit, I don't know. Sucks for Fundora because if you're gonna take another L, at least take it fighting for the fucking strap. You know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing. Even I mean, damn it. Let's go down this rabbit hole. Let's say Fundora wins, right? He doesn't get the belt, right? He doesn't get the strap. Well, that means that Tszyu is still the champ, I guess.
Yeah.
And therefore, a potential fight with Crawford is still on the table, even with
that and just moving on from Fundora. It just means he just won't fight Fundora again. I don't see, and you know what? Tszyu's got the kind of ego he might do a rematch, but there's an avenue where Fundora gets a win, doesn't get a title, doesn't get a rematch. Now he's the most scared guy, avoided guy in the division again. All that comes back up to play, right? Because he would have to get a number one ranking for one of those belts to actually make a champion fight him. At 6'5", if you look impressive against Tszyu, there ain't gonna be too many champions that want to fight you. That's just all there is to it. So yeah, it's very much a high risk fight for Fundora. He has to win it, and it still might not benefit him. That sucks.
Yeah, could that be? I mean, I know those because the sport of boxing is generally considered the wild west of sports. To negotiate something into your contract, let's say Fundora, and they were like, "Hey, Fundora, we want to offer you this fight, but it's not for the strap." Do you think Fundora and maybe his team are smart enough to be like, "All right, it won't be for the strap, but if I win, we have an immediate rematch and I get the strap on, some sort
Yeah.
of title
I
fight,
ho-
or put me the #1 contender if I fucking beat Tszyu and I get a title fight in an immediate rematch or something along those lines to
you
at
would
least
hope.
have some sort of leverage, right? Because it would suck because listen to that path that you just talked about. Fundora wins, we'll say he pulls the upset, doesn't get the strap, is now the most avoided dude at 154, and he's like probably not, I don't know, the #1 contender in any other sanctioning body. Let's just say that just puts him in a really shitty position.
Yeah.
Hopefully the financial compensation is there for taking the fight and having to be, I mean, for him it's the opposite. It's like high risk, no reward shit. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of the situation that he put himself in by accepting the fight. But he's a young cat and he wants to fight. He wants to stay active now after that knockout. So it's understandable that he's going to want to be in that position. But did he put himself in the corner by accepting the fight like this?
He absolutely, I think, did. Yes, sir. Yeah, and we won't see what happens until we see how he wins and where Al Heyman wants to go with them, because it's all up to Al Heyman,
Sure.
right? But Al Heyman has shelved guys before, so if he doesn't make money, if he's not doing pay-per-view buys, he's gonna have no reason to put him on as a main event on one of his pay-per-view cards. So yeah, it does look like it's a no-win situation possibly for Fundora here. But
Hmm.
you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So let's flip the coin, I guess, over to Tim Tszyu's side. Um, he wins, right? Obviously, a potential fight with Terrence Crawford down the line. I kind of, for a point in time, I kind of felt bad for Tim because the big fish that he wanted to get at 154 being Charlo seems to be kind of avoiding him. It's like the fish that you just caught and he's like slipping from your fucking hands. He got a nice payday against Canelo. It's not Charlo I'm talking about. He drops one strap and he whatever, he gives it to fucking Tszyu, and now Tszyu's like, damn it, that's the one big fish that I wanted to catch here at 154. Now that might not be the case because we have since heard that Terrence Crawford is thinking about, or at least that's the rumor, that he's going to pull the mandatory card because he's the super champion at 147 for the WBO. He's going to use that to basically move up to 154 and be the immediate contender and #1 contender against Tszyu, him holding the belt. So now that's a much larger fish than fucking Charlo. That's a much bigger fish. We're talking about the undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes, and pound for pound, #1 on many people's lists currently. So, damn, that is a much bigger fish than Charlo. Damn, I don't know that, like, for a while I felt for Tszyu, but now I'm like, damn it, he really needs. This is one of those fights where it might suck. The fight might suck because there's a saying in the fight business: you win this one, you look good on the next one. This is one of those fights that you have to fucking win, however the fuck you win. It may not be the most entertaining fight, and it's gonna suck because it's gonna be Amazon's and PBC's first pay-per-view, and maybe we might get a stinker of a main event because knowing that a potential mega fight with Terrence Crawford is looming ahead, could Tim Tszyu play it safe and give us kind of a snoozer?
No, I don't think he has that style. I don't think he has that style or that attitude. He's not a boxer and he's not a defensive fighter first. So I believe this. I believe Tszyu's good as far as excitement, bringing the fight. Um, what what the problem is for both fighters is Canelo is in the picture again. Canelo isn't leaving the PBC. He's not. If this Prime Amazon thing works out, he's looking for guys to fight on Prime Amazon. Both if I'm Tszyu and I win on Saturday night and Zarafa wins on Saturday night, I'm revisiting that fight in Australia. You'll have two champions now. Tszyu will have his WBO strap. Doesn't mean he's putting it up. I
Sure,
mean,
sure.
they get to show it in the ring, right? He's
In the corner,
undefeated.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's all for show. It's all that's all for show, and everyone loves seeing two champions go against each other. So you have him undefeated with his title. Then you have Zarafa, who has a very good ranking, or what is it? Like, he's known in Australia, right? A win
Yeah, yeah.
over Lara
Recognition.
recognition. He has a good win over Lara. Now he has a title at the middleweight division. The storyline here will be Tszyu and Crawford are both chasing down the super fight with Canelo. I think Crawford moves right into the middleweight division. I don't think he goes junior middleweight. If Tszyu moves, he moves. Now you can build the fight with Tszyu and Zerafa, and then Terrence and whatever he's going to do at middleweight. If both of these men are successful at middleweight, now Al Haymon has 2 fights for Saul Alvarez at 168. And because both men are willing to do this, I think to me Tszyu has all he wants is legacy, right? That's all Tszyu says. I want to be a legend. I want to be a legend. You're gonna know my name.
He wants to make his own. Yeah.
I totally see him taking that path to the pound for pound ranking. And for Terrence, he has no other options. If Al Haymon said, look, we're all moving to middleweight, and whoever wins this middleweight thing is going to move on to Saul, Terrence is going to be good with that too, because to me, Terrence don't have any other options. He's went down he even went to DAZN the other day and still came out with nothing, right? He was just there the other day. No, maybe the Eubank thing happens. Maybe that's the fight at 160, right?
Well, it is. I mean, that's as my understanding. Because Eubanks, I want to say he's fought at 168 at one time. So now it's like, hold on. So it'll be 160, 168. Okay. Isn't coming down to 154. So we know for a damn sure if that fight does take place, which at this point we're not entirely sure, but if it does, there's no way. I don't even think Eubank can make 154 at this point, to be honest. So it's going to have to be at 160, as I understand it. So that seems very plausible. That being his first, foray into fucking into the middleweight division, seeing how he feels, playing it out. Maybe he's just not ready. Because I mean, after Crawford defeated Spence, he immediately went over to Charlo and was like talking mad shit about him. So a potential showdown with him and Charlo at 154 might be worthy of something. Whether or not it pays like the other ones, I don't know, obviously, but he's still, he has an option at 154, and there's a storyline of him whooping the shit Crawford, basically checking people's names off the PBC list, Porter and then Spence and now another one. So there's an option for him there. Now, is it the money option that you were talking about, moving on to potentially Tszyu at 160 and then, Canelo 168? No, definitely not, because I don't think Charlo's going to bring him that kind of money. It'll bring him a nice payday, I will say that, but it's not going to be that kind of money. So it's not like he doesn't have many. It's not like he doesn't have any other choice, Crawford, I'm saying. He just has very few.
Yeah, I think Crawford would get the Eubank if they go this path, and we're gonna know this in a few days. We're gonna see what Tszyu's saying after the fight.
Find out.
Yeah, you can have Crawford fight Eubank, right? That's at middleweight. You have Tszyu fight Zerafa. If Zerafa wins at middleweight, he gets another title. Blah blah blah. Terrence don't need the title. Terrence is the baddest man on the planet. If he beats Eubank, look for Al Haymon to set up the fight with Canelo in September of this year. Yeah, 24.
Yeah. But I mean, we're March, April, so the first quarter of the year is gone.
Yeah. If Canelo, Crawford, and Al have already talked about this scenario too, because they've already talked about them two fighting, so they've already had discussions. They don't need Tszyu. Tszyu would be able to fight Zerafa. And then I look for Tszyu to fight Spence at middleweight. If he fights Spence, that would be his last fight before he takes the winner of Crawford and Canelo. That is to me, it's a great plan for the PBC and their venture with Amazon. They might generate some good buys if all this plays out. And so, yeah, I think Terrence and Canelo are way closer today than I did 2 months ago. It looks like Canelo's running out of options here. He's outpriced himself. He doesn't want to go back to light heavyweight. Terrence is moving up. Looks like he has a real good fight. The Eubank is a real good fight for him at 160. Then you're gaining 8 pounds to take on Saul.
Does any of that happen if this pay-per-view with Amazon is a flop?
No, I think they still have to move forward. They still, as long as Amazon's willing,
they still have to go with that plan that you're. Let's just say, let's say go that direction, even if that will stinker. Huh?
Yes, because they're praying that when they get Canelo on Amazon, the gates are going to open with money, right? They the biggest platform that boxing's ever seen. They're hoping that Canelo brings it on these pay-per-views. So yes, if he beats Munguia and does 1.5 million or million buys, let's just give him 1 million. They're putting him in with Tszyu anyways. They don't give a shit what Tszyu did because Canelo will be the driving force of the pay-per-view. They just need a dance partner.
Okay, so
Oh,
that
and
being said,
Terrence Crawford would be a fucking sellout. Terrence
okay,
Crawford, if he goes up to beat Eubank, believe me, he's gonna have all his fans going, "Let's fucking do this, man. This is like this." And to me, it would be too. If Terrence Crawford goes up and knocks out Eubank like he's been knocking out his last a dozen opponents or 11 opponents, bro, it's a huge fight. Terrence Crawford will be literally going for like the Sugar Ray Robinson title. Seriously. From
yeah, going from
welterweight to
welterweight.
jump to middleweight and fucking win, and even Leonard when he went up to Hagler. So we've seen it done. We've seen this jump happen, and whoever does it always becomes a great fighter.
All-time great.
Terrence will be going for that, man.
Because you really nailed the head right now when you said Canelo needs that dancing partner, because Amazon, they're not stupid. They probably saw what DAZN anticipated was going to happen when they brought Canelo, right? They're like, give him a fuck ton of money. This is going to be our cash cow, and he still is, but not the amount that we thought he was going to be. But they were, I think they were DAZN and Matchroom and Hearn were banking on the third Triple G fight being like humongous, and it didn't turn out that way. I hope Amazon, for their fucking sake, saw what DAZN did, and they're like, they totally depended on Canelo and that Triple G fight being the thing. Let's hope that as long as things go accordingly, that actually comes through this time, with like Canelo being the multi-million, or over 1 million pay-per-view buys kind of thing, right? But it happens with the right dancing partner being Terrence. Do you think he makes that same amount if it's Tszyu? Do you think he reaches that same? No.
No, I think Tszyu needs another huge. I think Tszyu needs more wins. We're going to see how Tszyu's pay-per-view performance does here, and then his next fight. I don't think.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, using your like hypothetical.
Zerafa, right?
He moves up to 160, fights Zerafa, right? Does big numbers in Australia, let's say, right? He takes the strap off of Zerafa, and now he's at 160. Does he linger there for a while, or immediately go to one? Do you think they'll, like, now at that point, now that he has a strap at 160, is it still not going to be the big fight against Canelo as it would be Canelo and Crawford under the Amazon banner?
I think Canelo Crawford happens first. If Crawford is real about moving up to middleweight for a potential showdown, Al Heyman is totally working that angle first. It's going to be Crawford Eubank, Crawford Canelo. That's the way they're going to go if Terrence is on board. Tszyu,
he is on board. We know he's going to be on board.
All right. So then I think right now, then they get past Munguia. Terrence Crawford pay-per-view September is probably going to be their next fight, and Terrence is going to have to fight at middleweight. We're going to see what he looks like at 160, and I think he does a fight anyways, because dude, Terrence is 34 or something too. This is his last fucking shot at greatness. He's already great, but we know it's his last huge fight, his last huge payday. If he loses, it's the downside of his career. It's not the fucking peak of his career. Right?
It's not just a bump in the road. It's like the beginning. He already peaked. It's going to be the beginning of the downfall.
Yeah. So I see him doing it, and then I'm telling you, I think Tszyu's path to Canelo will be a title run at 160, and then Spence for a title defense. I think his last fight before Canelo would probably be a pay-per-view fight with Spence. Tszyu, I'm saying. Yeah. Because remember, Al Heyman wanted Tszyu versus Spence versus Canelo. Because his market dropped so low, he probably has to fight Tszyu for that fight.
That makes sense. Yeah, get that win back.
And make the guy hot. The guy that goes in.
They'll be talking about him again.
Yep.
Do you remember? I mean, I'm trying to pull it up here. How old was Leonard when he came back to challenge Hagler? I'm trying to pull it up right now.
He's old because I believe he had already retired once on an eye issue.
Yeah. Yeah, but back then, like 30s was old. So I'm trying to see if he was around the same kind of like time frame that I'm trying to see if it's
And
something
he
that.
actually might have been older than 30. I want to say he was in his late 30s, but
Yeah, I don't know. He was born in 1956. I was trying to kind of calculate to see if he is at the same like I guess age where like let's say what's his name Crawford would be if he makes that fight with Canelo happen. In the mid 30s in the mid 30s. I'm not sure if they're the same age, but I figured I would try to go that route to see what it was because when we talked about the examples that you gave of the fighters who moved up through those weight classes and one went down as like all time greats it was around this age time. I don't know if that is the case with fucking because we're talking about 87. Trying to do the math here, but 1987 minus 1956 was it? Yeah, I think he was. Unless I calculated wrong, I think it was like 31 at the time. So he was a little younger, mildly younger. But anyway, I just thought it was a nice little tidbit there, seeing if he was roughly the same age that Leonard was when Leonard came back to fight Hagler. Um,
and
but
who are we talking about for Canelo?
for Crawford, just because we're talking about Crawford doing the same things that the Robinsons and Leonards and
Yes,
stuff.
it's about jumping to middleweight. But it's also about he was a welterweight going up to middleweight and facing
Yeah,
him. Not really coming off of retirement. It's more
for sure.
just about we've seen the great welterweights that were able to move up to 160
Yeah,
and win the title.
yeah.
So that's really what I was saying. He puts his name into that, those categories as Sugar Ray Robinson and Ray Leonard.
And,
Even
and
Roberto.
it's funny. He's kind of doing it the old way too in this particular instance, because like at back then there was no 154-pound division. So it's almost like there was at one point, but like it came in I think in the 80s if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, nonetheless, to go from like pow 47 to 60 because there was no 154 at one time. That's pretty significant, and he's kind of doing it. He's kind of skipping 154 Crawford, I'm saying, and
Yeah.
going immediately to 160. So it's kind of the old school way of doing it. So to briefly, I guess, to wrap up the Tszyu and Fundora, Tszyu is going to be the favorite. How do you see that fight happening? Are they going to go 12 rounds? Or are we going to get a KO before then? And of course, your prediction on who's going to come out with the victory.
I like Tszyu to stop Fundora. I just think Tszyu has the style and the power to get it done. I've always been impressed with Tszyu. That's one thing about this young man. He's not just his dad's son. He
Mm-hmm.
really isn't. He's taken on some tremendous names early in his career, and he's knocking them down. And he looks good doing it. I don't think that stops on Saturday. Once again, I think this is going to be like a Chavez Angel Hernandez type ending, where it's the straight right hand to the midsection that
Fold them in half.
TKOs is out. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was he has that style. He brings that when you get fighters on the ropes, he goes head, body, head, body. Fundora has too big of a target for him not to land that straight right hand. So that's how I like seeing this fight end. I'm going to say it's going to end probably in the mid rounds because I think Tszyu does take his time. He's not a total, all out kind of guy. He's very technical, breaking you down, right? So he's constant, a constant pressure. And slowly but surely he's going to get Fundora out of there. But yeah, I like Tszyu by knockout.
All right. That's the direction I was going to. I was thinking the later rounds, 10-ish round is I think
Okay.
most likely where it's gonna happen. Unless, Fundora comes in a little timid because of that knockout loss that he had a year ago. But yeah, so I think Sue's gonna be the favorite. I'm gonna head down to the sports book like later on this week and just kind of check out what the odds are to see where they're at and see how much of a favorite Sue is because I'm sure he's gonna be a pretty heavy favorite. But I look forward to that pay-per-view card now that we know the price range being $70 is going to be on there. I don't know if I'm willing to pay it. You mentioned you are. I don't know if I'm willing to fucking pay it because really it's like it wasn't. I mean shit. I wasn't willing to pay it when it was fucking Thurman. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Oh no, I wasn't either though, to be honest with you.
yeah.
That to me that was a bum fight. At least Fundora is a prospect. He's of age. He he was doing fine until that one punch. So
Sure,
he is
sure.
not Keith Thurman. And like I said, I'm glad that Las Vegas brought those odds down. kind of sucks for Keith, but now we know it's a little bit more of a legit fight. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's kind of funny. This happened to Tszyu before. He said it a few times. It's like it happened with Charlo. He was supposed to fight Charlo, ended up being Harrison. And, he put on a great performance and he showed people that he was ready for the big time. And now he's going to face a guy who, granted, might be coming off a loss, but he's still a pretty hot, young prospect. Former, I think he had like some silver belt at WBC or something like that. But it was something significant to where he was on the cusp of being, a great champion at that weight class. And with the loss to Mendoza, he still is, and it was a bad loss, but it was, he was winning. I on my scorecard at least I had him winning, so it was just kind of very sudden. So I'm looking forward to that. I think we probably by accident ended up with a better fight than that ended up happening. And
yes.
I would have been willing to pay maybe $50 for it, but I don't know about $70 for it. And you know what? Maybe for people who don't have, and I don't know, the few people who don't have Amazon Prime, maybe there's a discount if you, because that's what DAZN has done a few times.
Yeah.
When I have the DAZN subscription, and for Garcia and Tank, it was like a discounted price because you already paid the monthly subscription. So I was like, all right, cool. That's one of the reasons I was down to pay for that. Maybe Amazon does the same. I don't know, but looking forward to that fight because it's going to be pretty solid. We got ourselves again by accident a much better fight than Keith Thurman. Sucks for Thurman, but do you think this is probably the end of the road for Thurman?
Oh yeah, no, it has to be. I mean, come on, how many times can this happen to one guy? Not only that, he's inactive. Keith's head is way higher than his ranking where he is as an all-time fighter. Like, it's just weird how the man, now he's a man, he used to be a kid, now he's a man, but he won like his first title and started talking of him in third person and, I kind of accomplished everything in boxing that you're supposed. It's like, bro, you got one title, kick the fuck back, man. Like, he just got way big-headed. The pay raises back then were through the roof. So these guys are making millions, fighting nobodies. He just got full of himself. Never came back down, really. He really did. You in the interviews that he was doing, third person, it almost sounded like he was interviewing himself sometimes because he's a commentator. So he was like going in and out of the commentating and fighting character. I gotta say, if I look at Keith Thurman going into this fight, it's like, you are Keith Thurman. What the fuck are you talking about? Why do you keep saying if I look at fights? It was weird. It was just weird, man, how he was doing that. And so no, his head is way bigger than where his ranking is. I don't see him even getting anywhere near the money that he's gonna want for his next fight. So. Maybe he fights a up and comer for PBC, or Al Heyman will give him.
Well, this was supposed to be that, I guess. This was, because he was supposed to.
I'm talking about
I'm
talking about a undefeated. Yeah, maybe a Boots. Maybe he comes back to fight Anus Boots.
Maybe
because that guy needs a fight. I know they're like really trying to hype up his name for doing shit. But he really needs to start getting some of these PBC has-beens on his resume. Keith Thurman's a pretty good start, So maybe he gets Mr. Boots as a comeback fight, but
at a discount, definitely not at what the price that he's asking.
And it better not be a title shot, like
Well, Boots has the IBF belt at welterweight, so rather not. I mean, I don't see
the full strap.
Yeah, as I understand it, because they stripped fucking Crawford of it because he was a mandatory, and he's like, man, I got bigger fish. Fuck Boots.
Oh, that's so stupid.
As I understand it, he is the legitimate IBF champ at welterweight. So, yeah, if that does happen, which isn't bad, whatever. Fuck, I mean, if it happens, it happens. Maybe we get another one of these non-title fights that this fight was supposed to be against him. But yeah, I wanted to bring something up. It's kind of a funny coincidence, not really too important, but I just thought about this. Like earlier in the week, Crawford, at one point was the man at 140, which is right now the money division, and he unified the belts, and he was the undisputed champion. Prior to him, well, since then we've had Josh Taylor, but prior to him, which him doing, I think in 2019, nobody had done it prior to him since 2001. A lot of 16 fucking years. I think it was 2017 when he did it. I don't remember, but it was a lot of years before somebody unified the 140-pound division, which Crawford did in 2000, in the late 2000, between 2017 and 2019. I forget the exact year, but nobody had done it prior to him since 2001. And you know who that person was? Tszyu.
Tszyu,
Yeah. And that's some shit.
Yeah.
What a funny coincidence. I was like, oh shit, he's fighting a dude who did the same thing that his pops did. Pretty significant. Hopefully, Tim gets a crack at Crawford and we get ourselves pretty solid fight. Maybe over in Australia for all we fucking know. But I just thought I'd throw that little bit of a trivia for you.
Nice.
I think that's pretty much everything we covered. We got a nice beefy 2-hour show. Unless there was anything else you wanted to throw in there, I'm pretty much done with the things that I had to say.
Nope. We can check social media to make sure there's no breaking news out of Bill Haney or Devin Haney. But
for that matter, jeez.
Yeah, sometimes I hate as soon as I go to my feed, it's like, oh fuck, look, that happened. Going down.
I did want to bring something up real quick, just to briefly. I don't know if there's going to be any sort of like grand arrival for Fundora and Tim. I don't know if they do that for the fight like that. But if they do, generally speaking, it's on a Tuesday, and I happen to be off on a Tuesday. So if anything goes down, I'll drive down to the fucking casinos and see if there's some sort of events going on, or maybe like, because I know recently they did like I think a media workout somewhere. I don't remember if it was here or not, but I didn't make it to that. But anyway, if there's something that happens on one of my days off, I'll head down to the fucking MGM and see what's going on and see if I can get some sort of footage or something of them doing something. But anyway,
hey, you know what's weird? For Tszyu versus Fundora, WBO and WBC world title unification.
Bro,
it's on Tszyu's page right now on the poster. It's a very nice poster.
Oh, shit. Huh? Because they didn't even mention jack. Oh, here we go.
They're hella pushing this, pushing Tszyu. WBC now. How do you get? I'm missing something. It says WBO, WBC world title unification.
And it's funny that picture that they have there of Fundora in the background looks like it's got the WBC belt around his waist or something.
Yeah.
Huh. That's fucking weird. I don't think you guys can see that shit.
Yeah, you're totally right, dude. I see that.
Like, that's just, I don't know. That's kind of, Well,
that's hella misleading. There's no way you can be a champ after getting taking a defeat.
Hold on. Wait. So, okay, hold on. Well, maybe, no, it's not unification. So here's the thing. Fundora was some silver champion or something in WBC, right? He loses to Mendoza. Mendoza loses to Tszyu. So if anything, Tszyu is the one that has both of those straps, and it's not a unification. He already has the two belts. No, I mean that's how I understand it. Because when
no, WBC super welterweight is vacant, bro. They're fighting for a vacant. That's such bullshit. Fucking Mauricio, I swear. But he gets to get a title shot off a guy who just got knocked out and hasn't fought in a year. Cool. That one isn't getting put right around your waist.
But who the fuck didn't? I'm trying to think who was the champ. Who's it? Oh,
Charlo got stripped. Yeah, he got stripped.
Wait, because I know the 154-pound Charlo got stripped of one of his belts and given to, I think there's one that wasn't even has Tszyu, but now the WBC. Well, I'm not mad at that they finally took the belt off of fucking the 160 Charlo, if that is the case, because he hasn't defended in God knows how fucking long. So I guess I'm not mad at that. But fighting somebody. That wasn't the case when Thurman was in the picture, right? It was a non-title fight.
No, yeah, it was a non-title fight, bro. There's something happened overnight here.
What the hell? Damn it, Mauricio, and you're fucking crooked ass shit.
He just wants to be a part of everything.
Yeah,
he's like, can I
put the belt in there?
Can I go to the fight? Take my title. Take my title. Let me in, please.
Yeah, like Charlo, give him the belt. Hand it over. And just mail it over here. We're gonna make a nice special Australian Aborigine belt or some shit. Like, no, please don't do that. Don't do that.
I told you, there's always something happening here.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I guess we have ourselves rather it's true
a unification match now.
Jesus Christ. Well, I guess that's something that paper. It looks nice on the poster. Whether or not it's legitimate, I don't know, but it certainly looks better on the fucking poster. All right. Well, we'll see what happens this weekend because we're within 6 days away here. So we'll Sunday morning, we're going to have ourselves next a show with the results and probably a breakdown of that pay-per-view card and see where the fighters come from here, what the end result was, how Tszyu looked or how Fundora looked, and see what's next for them moving on. And, of course, let's not forget Rolly and Cruz and the co-main event, see where those guys are after Saturday night. But other than that, I think we're good to go, Andrew, unless something else popped up.
Nah, no, I was just looking. I was trying to look up their rankings, and right now, super lightweight and super welterweight are both vacant titles. So, Saturday night, Tszyu is fighting for his second world title.
Wow, but hold on. It can't be. No, it's not. Oh, it is. I'm getting the Charlos confused. Fuck, god damn it. I'm getting the 160-pounder review because the 160 Charlo hasn't defended his belt in God knows how long. I'm thinking that's the belt that they took from him. It's not. It has to be the 164.
It has to be his brother.
Yeah. All right. Well, we have that going on. We'll be back next Sunday with the results and a breakdown of the pay-per-view card and see whether or not Miguel decided to fucking pay by the pay-per-view or just stream that.
And let's see if PBC will fucking explain how this unification went down. Yeah. This is going to be interesting to see how this happened.
Yeah, let's hope that's the case.
And Miguel, I always thought number one had to face number two for a vacant title, not number one versus whatever the fuck Fundora is after a knockout defeat.
Coming off a loss. Yeah, exactly. That's how it should be. Whether or not the sanctioning bodies have been following that for as long as they have, I don't know because we've seen it happen more than once where that is not the case. So
insane.
But nonetheless, to wrap this up, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We will be back next week with, of course, the results of the pay-per-view this weekend. Until then, Miguel Antonio Barragan, Fight Film Mig, saying peace, everybody. Andrew, it's good talking to you, dude.
Yes,
we have ourselves a good weekend. I will see you next week.